And he says all the time, guys, he says all the time, bro, use me. Use me for the sake of content. So I'm gonna
I'm not putting in the seat.
use you right now, motherfucker. I'm using you right now. What is the worst class in the game? Stoopzz. Which is the worst class in the game for our region? This is a bad way to
phrase it, though.
That's the way I'm gonna phrase it, because that's gonna get the clicks. What is it, motherfucker? Name it.
I don't want this, dude. I don't want this shit.
You gotta say it.
I don't want this shit.
You gotta say it.
I don't want this shit.
What is it? All right, so let's begin. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here today. I know you guys are all very, very busy, and we're all in different time zones, so this was not the easiest to schedule, but this is going to be posted on YouTube today, guys. We are going over a tier list video, and I just want to say first and foremost, because I got to give credit. I didn't actually know about this when I planned this video and planned on doing this video, but I got to give credit where credit is due. My guy Stoopzz is always on the ball. Apparently he came up with a tier list on his stream, which a lot of you guys are here from his community right now on Twitch. Apparently he did it first, so I can't say. I was about to like write in the first NAE, but I can't even do that because this man's already done it.
It's just good anyway. It doesn't matter. It's
All right, well we got the okay on that one, but
mine doesn't count. Shadowhunter wasn't an S tier. It doesn't count.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. All right, so that's exactly what we're doing today, guys. So I'm gonna give these guys a quick opportunity to introduce themselves, but really quick, I just want to preface this by saying that tier lists for the Lost Ark community has always been a touchy subject, right? And there's a lot of people that are against these tier lists. And for those of you who are against this tier list and thinks it's toxic, then motherfucker, you better not be the same person that's gatekeeping people from using, if they're not using Grudge, okay? You better not be gatekeeping people because they're playing Berserker, because that is hypocrisy at its finest. And let's be real here, 99% of you guys are like that, okay? So this is, we're gonna kind of go over the details to this tier list here after the intros. So let me give you guys an opportunity to introduce yourselves. We do have a new face, so let me start with Averse here. Averse is a newer face, well, not a newer face to the Lost Ark community, but newer face to my channel and my content. Averse, he's a PvP guy. Averse, can you tell us a little bit about, well, former PvP guy, excuse me, focusing on PvE. Averse, can you maybe tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yep, I'm a Lost Ark streamer. I do a little bit of YouTube. I play a bunch of Gunslinger. That's what people know me for. And I play Lost Ark a little bit too much.
Yeah, what's your? You've got a roster full of Gunslingers that are all just super juiced, right? And you do Inferno Vaulton buses or carries and stuff like that. Is that? Am I correct there?
Yeah, I went from flipping the market to just selling a bunch of Deathless Vaulted runs. So that's pretty much what I do on Lost Ark, usually throughout the week, other than selling other stuff, yeah. That's
pretty impressive. Anyone that's selling Deathless Vaulted runs, they're immediately validated. Mods, tell us about yourself, man.
Oh, hey guys, I'm Datmodz. I'm a content creator. I guess I play Lost Ark. And yeah, we're doing a tier list today. I'm excited. I just want to preface this with, if I misrank your class and you get angry at me, it's not because I dislike you, it's because your class sucks, okay? And that's not my fault. That's Smile Gates, okay? So don't be angry at me, just be angry at the developers for your class not being good. I'm joking. Just play whatever you want. Don't take this too seriously. Just play whatever you enjoy.
Yeah, Stoopzz, the man. You don't need any introduction, but tell us about yourself, Stoopzz.
Hello, my name is Stoopzz. I'm infamous for changing my main character every 2 weeks, and I'm also infamous for ruining the engraving marketplace. If you're trying to buy some class engravings, just don't play what I'm playing.
Perfect. Okay, so before we get into this, I want to add one more bit. I think everyone on this panel can agree with me here when I say this, but guys, in this game, regardless of what happens in the tier list, you can clear all content. So you can clear all the Legion raids, and you can totally enjoy yourself playing any class, any spec, okay? Play whatever engravings. You don't need to run Grudge to clear the content in this game. You don't need to. But there are people that want to know, hey, you know, what are the classes that actually do the most damage? What are the classes that are performing very high when kind of approaching more of a min-maxed approach or, you know, in-game? So that is kind of what we're going to be focused on today. We're going to be talking about, we are going to be putting this tier list together based off of current NAEU classes, SA, at endgame. So this is going to be about 1490 to 1500 plus. Excuse me. Okay, so, you know, 5/3s and, you know, just our current endgame. That's what it is. One more time. This tier list is completely irrelevant when it comes to actually completing content and enjoying yourself, okay? It's completely irrelevant. For example, if we put Gunslinger, since Averse was talking about his Gunslinger, if we were to put Gunslinger in the D tier, for example, it does not mean that it's a trash class, you're going to get gate kept from it, whatever. You know, you can clear all content, no problem. Okay, I just want to make that, I just want to reiterate that point because it is important to know that. And also keep in mind, regardless of where your class is on this tier list, number one, this is the opinion of 4 content creators that play in the NAEU regions. And number 2, balance patches happen. Smilegate's constantly buffing and nerfing classes. Okay, this is like a year and a half ago, no one was playing Mayhem, and then that turned into everyone playing Mayhem. That's a perfect example of it, right? Berserker. So there's that. Okay, I just want to. That's a quick disclaimer here. Okay, so
You don't gotta tell them, man. Listen, dude, they already do this. They already do this shit, man. Like they already. A tier list is no different than somebody saying that class sucks or this class does ZDPS.
Exactly.
It's not a DPS meter shows you if someone in your group's doing no damage, right? That could be inherently toxic. Somebody saying Sharpshooter does 0 damage at a ZDPS is just somebody's opinion if it is ZDPS backed by actual no factual evidence. So it's just like it's the same shit. They already tier list each other out of content. Like it doesn't change. There's no evidence behind it, right? So it's just what people think. Doesn't mean anything.
Right, absolutely. And I see someone in chat talking about skill. That is definitely a big factor. Of course, it's a big factor. Skill, if someone's playing the best class in the game but sucks versus someone playing the worst class in the game and they're really good, that person's going to do more damage, the person that's really good at the end of the day, right? So knowledge in the mechs, all that is important. But, you know, this is under the assumption that, you know, we've got Giga Chat God tier players playing all the classes and know what they're doing, know the mechs. I'm glad you actually opened up with that, Stoopzz. Averse, Datmodz, maybe you guys could also give me your opinions, share your opinions on tier lists in general. We'll start with you, Mods.
Well, I think they're trash, but we're here today and we're doing one for fun, so it should be good. Yeah, it all comes down to player capability, learning boss mechanics. Someone with lower item level, worse engraving, playing the quote-unquote worst character could beat someone that's playing the best class if they know how to identify mechanics, react to them, position better, and everything else, right? It's all about the mental game. It doesn't matter what class you play, just play good and you're golden.
Perfect. Well said. Well said. Wow. Averse, what are your thoughts on a tier list?
They scare me a little bit because a lot of people, especially in NA, flame gunslingers, calling them floor slingers. And then I think they get a little bit surprised when they see like good gunslingers do damage and stuff. And
Right.
people are very swayed by just that alone. So I can only imagine how many people are swayed by other people's opinions of other classes. Yeah.
Good.
Surprised. They already are swayed. Somebody KR gets in this class is broken. The price of engraving books jumped by
Yeah.
5K.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
They're not even. It's not even real. Anything I can put on a video and say something's broken, and the next day the price jumps up by 5K.
That's exactly
Well,
right.
if we're talking about like calculations, right? Like every class has an effective health, right? And then if you like rank them based off that solely, floor slingers technically are one of the squishiest classes in the game, right? So you'd have to have a higher skill gap to play it well. But if you don't play it good and just face tank everything, you're going to die before the tankiest class in the game, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's like there's like some truth to that with skill caps and like you know how much effective health you have. But then it could be good, right?
I think the ultimate reason why people are very sensitive to tier lists in other games, nobody gives a shit really. Like you actually look for them if you're playing like a fighting game, a game where a tier list involves like what weapons are the best. No one actually cares. They only care in MMOs because you invest so much time into your character, and to have your character get ranked lower, it feels bad because you feel like you invested a lot of time into a class that you can't easily change. So I think that's what people care the most in MMOs. It's the personal investment. in your character or class versus other games you could just swap off if you really wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So when it comes to this tier list, guys, let's kind of go over the rules here, so to speak. Okay, so I've already said this is going to be based off of 1490 plus. Okay, so our end game plus 20 max everything, relic set, you know, 5/3 engravings, and let's also assume that the performance is based off of not the average player, but someone that's actually really good at the class, someone that knows, an experienced player that can execute each class and is not going to die, you know. But I mean, you know, there's a lot of factors that are involved in this, right? So let's just for now go off of that, and as we go through the tier list, I'm sure there's going to be more things that we have to address. You're like, oh wait, is this going to be, should we consider this? And you know, we'll just kind of go with the flow on that. Okay, so should we begin, guys? Are we good? Are we good to go?
Yeah. I'll have food coming in a little bit, but I'll eat while we're playing.
Okay, cool.
We're doing
cool.
this.
Awesome. All right, so let's just start. You guys can see the tier list here on the top left, and let's just start from the top left all the way to the right. So as you guys can see, I have Reaper and Summoner at the very end right there, and we are obviously not going to tier them because they are not in our region, and I don't want to put a class in there that that we haven't experienced in the NA region. This is based off of our current end game. Okay, we can't. Scouters are there. Scouters there after Pally, and we can put that somewhere based off of just speculation, pure speculation, since that is the next class. But let's start with the assassin classes. Let's start with Deathblade. Why don't you start us off? Actually, anyone want to start us off, or otherwise we'll just go to Averse. That's right above me.
Yeah, I had a question. Sorry, I don't know if you covered this. This is specifically for our version, right? Like not future fights.
Yes. This is our current end game. So this is not in the future with bracelet and all that stuff. This is our current end game right now. Yeah. Actually, we don't have to go around here. Just whoever speaks up, because I want us 4 creators to come up with this tier list, and this is something that we can all kind of agree upon, right? So that is our mission today, to try and agree on a placing of this, and I'm sure we'll disagree on certain classes. So yeah.
I can go, or Averse, you want to start, and then I'll go after you.
I have a good personal anecdote about this.
Sure.
So I bus every week with my friend named Fred, and he plays 6 DBs, right? And he always has this weapon at 23 on like all his DBs. And my main Gunslinger on 25 can never outdamage him. So my opinion of this class is it's always S tier, and especially on our version, because all the bosses are really easy to hit their back, and as long as the surges crit, they hit really, really high amounts.
Wow. Okay, wait. So he is a plus 20. You have a plus 23 weapon, and he has 25. You said.
No, I have 25.
Oh, 25.
And he had 23.
Oh,
and the damage was extremely comparable. Yeah.
Sorry. That's what I meant. Okay, interesting. And that's with all fights? Because, like, every fight is different. And Stoopzz and I have been talking about this off stream. Because, like, there are certain classes that perform better in certain gates, in certain mechanics, right? Because of just the way the class is designed. Like, for example, if you're on a super juiced blade, right? Gate 3 of Vicus, that first section where you go into swamp mech into you know, all into the next what do you call it? Yeah, all the way into the booba mech, right? It's like, it's not the best to build 20 stacks of surge if we're talking about surge, for example, if you're playing in a juiced party, like it versus like a striker, boom, you're gonna get that tiger strike off multiple, right? So like, is he just out damaging you on your Gunslinger Hitmaster class, by the way, like every time, like regardless of the fight?
I think the best chance I have is in really, really long fights, but that could be said about most Hitmaster classes, especially Gunslinger. But yeah, if it's ever like the Turtle boss or Argos, I have like... Oh, actually, Argos, it's really hard to back attack, but like the Turtle boss is like... Yeah, the Turtle boss is a good example of something that you can never out DPS a back attack class. Yeah.
Gotcha. And that's a Surge, or he's playing Surge or Remaining Energy?
Surge.
He's playing
Surge. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Stoopzz, thoughts?
I think the synergy on Blade is really good, so that's a big strong suit for the class, right? Like, it's a really good synergy. It's insane pretty much because everyone plays back attack classes anyway right now. Most people do. I think that when I look at the other classes that I would rank higher than Surge, I just feel like it's so easy for them to do damage. Like they don't have to like they're not gonna get fucked by cutscenes as easily. They're not gonna like they don't have to put in any like you just play Shock Scrapper, you're just always doing damage. There's no build up. You're always doing it, right? You miss a cut, you get screwed by a cutscene, the boss phase is too much. Now if you play it perfect for sure, but I don't know. I just think that the effort it takes versus like Striker or Scrapper, I guess for me, you could put it in low S or high A tier. I just don't think it's as good as those classes personally, but I guess the synergy is really good. Anywhere between those tiers, I think is fine for me. I know it's really strong, but I just think that it's a lot more effort, and and if you miss a surge, it's absolute rip bozo, right? So like Shock Scrapper, it can miss something, it doesn't really matter. Especially when these fights are so short. If you actually miss one, it really is rip bozo, right? So I think anywhere in the low S or high A tier. I think it's just higher effort for sometimes not even the same reward.
Right. On that note, let's organize this tier list, by the way, like in order. Let's try to organize it in order. So like not have all the S tier classes like on the same level, but like actually put it on the in order. Mods, do you have any thoughts on Deathblade?
Yeah, a lot of things were already said. I play a lot of Deathblade. I'd probably rank it around SA tier, more A tier. Both engravings are good. You guys are only talking about Surge. You got remaining energy also, quick pace, high NPM, really high mobility, low cooldowns. So it makes it easy to position. Yes, and both class engravings are good. It's high damage. The only downside at the entropy, so you always have to chase that butt. And that can get kind of annoying on some fights. So that's why I'd probably put it A tier. Other than that, amazing across the board, good synergy, really good damage, fun to play. Yeah, I just like the overall class theme in general.
Yeah, I agree with you guys here. My personal opinions on this is that I would have it at that high A, low S. And I agree. I'm literally on the same page with Stoopzz here. When like I think there are a couple of classes that are clearly better than Blade overall if we're factoring everything. But like for me, my perspective, especially if we're talking about Surge, you're talking about the class that arguably has the highest parse. Not that parse is really like it's the same thing as real world example, but they have extremely high burst. The only thing that they have one of the best. I'm trying to think. I think they have the best ability to actually land a back attack. The only thing that cucks them is that 20 stack. So for certain boss fights, you can get screwed over if you don't build your stacks correctly. Because like you building stacks and then if it phases, you can really screw yourself and screw your DPS. So like I think that's a really big thing with Surge. But if you remove that, I mean Axle to back attacks and just like they're just really strong.
Assuming you're playing it perfect, then you're not missing and you're doing tons of damage. Also, another thing to consider is that literally because so many people do play back attack classes, you're always going to want to be in a group. Like everyone's always going to want a Blade, right? Like literally any back attack Andy is going to want the Blade in their group.
Exactly.
Right? Because it's so strong.
Yeah, exactly. So strong. Pretty much having perma uptime on a back attack synergy. What is it? 9%, right? About 9% damage plus 3% regular damage to everyone up, but pretty much 9% damage back attack. Perma uptime on top of the movement speed buffs that you get from the speed buffs that you get from Maelstrom. And then on top of it, it has like a really, really high damage ceiling. I really see this at a low S.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
One thing, you're gonna have to probably edit it out. I see this goddamn chatting Andy in the chat. I can't hold it in Kanon. I'm so sorry.
Go for it.
This goddamn Infighter fucking 1991. Would you shut your ass up, man? You're probably playing Surge on goddamn Argos. This guy's sitting here talking shit for like 5 minutes. I've read every goddamn message. Jesus Christ. Oh, sorry, I couldn't.
No, that's okay. No, you're good. You're good. And I just read someone in the chat also say you just defaulted for the average play. No, not really, because like. When I'm talking about phasing, like, guys, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like, for example, Gate 3 Vicus, if you're in a juiced party, there's no way you're going to build stacks, 20 stacks during some of these phases. Like, I mean, if like I was with my guy Ike earlier and we were doing just the two of us, we were juiced out characters. He could get one surge. I think he got total of 2 surges by the time we got to Booba Mech, and like with the amount of DPS that we're dishing out, right? Like, so it's anyways, guys,
So where do we want to put it?
Where do we want to put it? I mean, clearly it's somewhere between S and A. What are you guys comfortable with? Keep in mind, like, even if we put it in the S tier, we could have it at the back end towards the right side of the S tier, right?
I think the synergy makes it.
The synergy's huge, man. Yeah.
I think you could put it back into S for sure.
You could put it. Yeah, that's good. That's your sound nice.
You good with that? Okay.
It sounds nice. If you're a Blade, you're probably stoked about that. Yeah.
All right. We got Blade at S tier. Let's move on. Shadowhunter, demonic. Now we're starting with you, Stoopzz. Let's hear it. What do you think of the cockroach class?
Okay, the class. Okay, listen. I would put it in the B tier. Okay. Because I would rank it. There's a lot of classes I would put in the A tier because of just their synergy alone. Okay. The class only has the 6% buff synergy, right? It doesn't do bonkers amounts of damage. In fact, it's just a lot of people play it. It doesn't do insane amounts of damage. It does good damage. It has a very just mid-level synergy, nothing like super huge at all. It's just 6%. A lot of classes have that. In fact, a lot of times you're like trying to look for a crit synergy for your group or a back attack synergy. It's so competitive with synergy spots of what you want in your group that I think for me, because of the damage and the fact that it has an average synergy, I would put it in the B tier. I think a lot of people don't like it because a lot of people play it. By the way, B tier is good. It's not a bad tier, but I would put it in the B tier because it's just okay damage.
It's bad if everyone else is in the A tier and S tier though.
There's some B tier classes I think.
Yeah.
I think it's B tier.
Okay. What do you think, Mods?
So demonic is cool. It had like one really good engraving, then you got perfect depression, which is kind of like not as good. Like Stoopzz said, the synergy is all right. Class is kind of face roll right. You don't really have to like do too much planning, forward thinking. You kind of just get transformation. You just roll your face across your keyboard. And honestly, a lot of content, demonics just pop off and damage. I'd probably put it a B or A tier.
Okay. What do you think, Averse?
It'll just be easy to play.
Yeah.
Kind of pop off quite easily.
How many demonics or Shadowhunters do you see running Helltan raids?
Not many actually, but there was one on the MVP screen who managed to get 29% of the party's damage, which was the highest amount I've seen.
For Helltan. For Inferno.
For Deathless, yeah.
For Deathless, okay.
For Deathless. Yeah. Well, yeah, Helltan. Yeah, and I actually don't really know how good this class is in like PvE content. I don't really run with many of them.
Right.
I do know it only takes one damage gem and one CDR gem to make this class really good, which kind of irks me.
Right.
So
it's expensive books,
yeah,
bro.
So that's interesting. That's interesting.
They're paying it other ways.
Yeah, that's interesting you say, Averse, because you are known to be rolling, quote unquote, rolling with a lot of top players, right? Top as in like actual skilled players. Guys, if you're like his group, Averse's group are the guys that like are selling deathless carries. So I mean, like on a skill level, that's on another level, right? It's interesting that you aren't really being exposed to that many Shadowhunters. I mean, I feel like that's a testament to like how unpopular that class is amongst the good players in NA. Yeah.
Yeah. If you were wondering, our party is a scrapper, a striker, and 2 gunslingers for damage.
Okay, so S tier. Okay. Yeah. So all right. So for me personally, because this is talking about like experienced players, you know, like high level players at end game, like I feel like Shadowhunter is really one of those classes that like at that point in the game, their damage really starts to fall off, right? Like you see Shadowhunters MVPing all the time at our mid game, right? NAEU mid game, and then you slowly just start not seeing them on that MVP screen when you start seeing these other classes hit that 1500 1490 mark. So I personally also have one as an alt. I personally also agree with Datmodz. I would put it in that high B tier, low A tier, again depending on where we put all these other classes. That's what my vote would be. What do you guys, where should we put it? Should we put it in the B? We could always move it while we go based off of, you know, once we see it, but yeah, should we put it in the A for now or the B for now?
I'll take the blue. I think that thing goes in the goddamn B, man. I'm put.
Yeah, okay.
I just think that there's A tier. Okay, the way I different A tier, S tier is like, wow, that class is insane.
Yeah, okay.
A tier is a really, really good class. It provides some unique synergy. Like there's something about it where it's like, this is a really good class. S tier is like the broken classes.
Yeah.
I think B tier is literally not a bad tier at all. It's just, if demonic had a very unique synergy to it, I think it's easy A tier. It just doesn't have that, right? So it's I think that's the difference in there.
Yeah. I mean, they do have 100%.
What about it is so unique that it deserves to be in the A tier?
Cockroach posture. Stoopzz posture.
Your
posture. Are you not S tier, bro? Are you not at least A tier?
I'm getting an update in the next patch. I'm getting a new one. Okay, I'm fucking reformed, baby. I'm reformed.
I actually.
Demonic's getting 2 nice buffs pretty soon. Whenever we get the patch.
What are the buffs? It's just the boobo change. Oh, I get you. Oh,
yeah, no more cockroach.
No more cockroach.
It looks better now. Yeah. All the Coomers going to be extra happy with their transmog.
All right, I'm okay with putting in the B tier, especially for us to kind of spread out. That way we don't have a tier list that like every class is in the A tier. Let's place in the B for now, if you guys are okay with that. Yeah?
What's the backstory?
What's that?
What's the backstory on why Stoopzz hates this character, by the way?
I don't hate the character. Okay, now...
Because they have the same posture.
No, listen, I literally don't hate it. This is what happened, okay? I made the tier list. I'm like, shit, man, I think demonic for me would be in the B tier. But so many people play the class that it was like an insane amount of people that got upset, right?
No, it's true though. It's true.
Right. So then I said, but I was like, okay, I'll make my own. But to be fair, I'll let you guys make your own tier list, and that way we can like share, because it's just an opinion, right? It's just my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong or whatever. It's just an opinion. So I want to hear your guys' opinions. The amount of people that put it in S tier was crazy. You know what I mean? And some people were dead serious about it. For PvE.
I think I think the reason why most people put it in S tier is because it is an S tier class at our mid game. At our mid game, it is, bro. You see demonics fucking popping up because they only need 2 gems, right? And they don't need tripods. I think that's why. But like, bro,
but that hurts the class. Like people don't understand that. Having 2 gems locked in, right? And then having no tripod buffs and only having 4 skills and not being able to customize that at all, that innately makes the class weaker, right? So like the damage floor, probably not that, like it's not that low. Like out the gate, you're going to be doing a lot of damage, right? But then the damage ceiling is never going to be as high as a class that has that much customization to it, right? So of course, you should do... Theoretically, if it's that easy to build and cost effective to build, should you do as much damage as a class that costs way more? No, I don't think so. I think that's okay balance. I think a better synergy could be nice, but I don't think you should be doing ridiculous amounts of damage. Again, you can look at videos and you'll find KR later on players doing more, but there should be some like reward to cost and also difficulty to cost, like difficulty to reward, right? Like there should be some kind of balance there. I agree. Really solid class for a lot of people.
I think regardless of what your opinion is on it, I think just the nature of having a class not needing tripods and 2 gems and having it being able to perform pretty much at its full potential, I think that system to begin with is just a flawed system. Is right. Like, how do you actually balance that? Because it's like if you balance it where it's like juicing end game, then it's like super juicing mid game then, right? So it's like, I don't know. I don't know. But I do agree with you, man. Sorry, Shadowhunter mains. Look, man, with my striker, I can get out MVP'd on blades and stuff like that and, you know, other classes, but there ain't no Shadowhunter that's out MVPing me at our fucking eye level. Sorry. It's just not going to happen. Yeah,
I know there's perfect suppression. I just don't see enough of it to honestly. Maybe there's some crazy perfect suppression build, but I have Mimi, and whenever we do an MVP war, Mimi's in the group. He's always I put all these people that they can vote on. We have like some big like Sork, some big striker, a scrapper, and then Mimi's always Mimi Keck W. That's what you can vote on, because the chances of him actually taking it over those classes is pretty low. I don't know. Again, I think people think B is a bad tier, and like that's what C and D is for, right? Like that's what D is for. I don't think B tier is bad at all.
So I'm just reading someone in the chat. How many 512 perfect suppressions with level 10 gems have you played with, Kanon? Great question. None. And look, I'll be honest, I haven't. I don't know personally where perfect suppression would actually go, a fully juiced one. And I'd be willing to eat my words on that. Maybe for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you're out there, perfect suppression, level 10 juiced out gems and everything, come. I'd love to see your damage and really showcase the class, but I don't think anyone here on this panel has actually seen those classes. So so our perspective of it, I feel like most of us is based off of demonic impulse, and that's where we would place it. So yeah, if you're juiced, hell, fuck, man, we could be wrong. Absolutely.
Is that like an open invitation for a DPS off?
Oh, let's do it, man. Let's go. Okay. All right, so we got it in the B tier for now. Let's move on. Let's go to Artillerist.
Yeah.
Let's go to Artillerist. This is an interesting one. Let's start with you again, Stoopzz, because I saw you. It's all on your stream earlier. You're watching a juiced out Artillerist solo bus vault in hard. What are your thoughts on this wheelchair class, dude?
I don't really want to like. I mean, a lot of people will tell you it's S tier. I literally don't know enough about the class to confidently say where I would rank it. But I mean, Artillerist is like Moby Dick. It's like Bigfoot. Like it's like, I don't know. I haven't seen one with I don't know. But every time like I hear about these stories about them just doing insane amounts of damage, and then Benji sent me some crazy video about them later on. I heard in our version they're actually bananas and super strong. But I personally don't want to. They're just so rare. So I don't feel super comfortable where I'd put it.
Right.
But a lot of people will tell you it's in S tier right now, or maybe A. But
right. And
yeah, I don't know. I don't know enough.
And on that note, I think we should also keep in mind that there are certain classes that offer more things than just damage. Gunlancer would be a very perfect example of it, right? So like a class like Artillerist comes with a lot of stagger damage, you know, and obviously protection to CCs and all that stuff as well. Mods, what are your thoughts on Blaster here, or Artillerist, excuse me?
Oh, I play a lot of Artillerist. It's one of like my main alt.
Really?
So
Okay, great.
I love the class, right? So you have your two big different setups right now. You have the wheelchair build, aka spec build, right? Where you just got low movement speed. You go on your cannon, you just literally dump insane amount of damage, right? Class overall is really good, but you got defense reduction synergy, right? And you also got stagger buff synergy. Yeah, and you're just kind of like a DPS overlord. I don't think I've ever seen like a good spec Artillerist lose damage to anybody. And then you also got firepower engraving, which they're eventually going to change our region right now, but it has like crit synergy. You could build full swiftness, so it has really high mobility, low cooldown. You couple it up with good CDR gems, and you just have really low cooldown, so you're just dropping your homing barrage and all your other big damages constantly. So yeah, I'd put it S clear. Two good engravings. It was kind of cheap to build, at least firepower was, but currently not too cheap.
Getting a buff to the barrage
is
one, right?
super expensive. Yeah, so overall, both the engravings are good. High damage output, high uptime, good class synergy. I'll put it S tier 100%.
Really? Averse, what are your thoughts on this?
I know Artie is definitely a top tier class. My only experience with Arties is them tanking every single damage mechanic and dying. So it's kind of hard to judge it based on that, but I definitely know they are one of the highest like output damage classes, and they offer a lot of stagger damage. So if I had to rate it, I'd probably rate it like high A or S tier. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have I've got a pretty solid, I don't want to say super juiced out, but I've got a pretty solid teammate that runs in Artillerist alt, and one of my alts is in Artillerist as well too. I personally don't like the class playing wise, so I don't really play it, but what I do know is outside of the stagger damage is that they do pump. I can't get a gauge for like number one, like, because a lot of their damage is delayed, right, with missile barrage and all that stuff. Because I don't play the class extensively, I don't know how difficult that is to land once you memorize mechs, like, you know what I mean. So I can't really like, but just based off of the damage and the other utility that it brings, I would just put it like, and this would be a little bit naive of me, but like, my naive perspective would be somewhere right there, like low S tier, high A tier. Definitely some classes that are, I think, better, but I don't even know how much they actually parse in a 1 minute, like in their burst rotation or what it is. So, where would you guys place it? Should we put it in the A tier for now or in the S tier? I think you
Are
both.
we talking about hell mode content for the ranking? Or are we talking about
No,
non-normalized content?
Our like with gear,
Okay.
non-normalized. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
non-normalized.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I think it's S tier
S
because the
tier.
damage
Okay.
is insane, survivability is insane.
Yeah.
You got all your shield and stuff. High
Yeah.
mobility for playing firepower don't do as much damage, but
Okay.
yeah, honestly, I think it's S tier.
You guys good with S tier here for the artillerist class? What's that? What's that look, Stoopzz?
Thinking, is it better than the other classes like Blade and shit? Like, would I rather have an Artillerist than a
Well,
Blade?
if we put it behind Blade, it's not as good as Blade. That's why I was saying let's put it in order, right? So if it's on the
Okay.
right side of Blade, then it's below Blade.
I don't know, and I've just seen crazy videos, people him soloing hard mode Vulcan, doing a bajillion damage, and just taking absolutely no damage. So I mean, I've just seen crazy stuff about them, and I've heard from a lot of people that they're broken. I have no idea though.
I don't see Artillerist being ahead of Blade, man. Like all things considered, like with the synergies and like that 9% perma back attack synergy in itself is pretty fucking insane, right? Like so should we put it in the S tier? Would you guys be okay with S tier behind Blade?
The reason I wouldn't put Artie S tier is because I consider Artie a worse Igniter Sorc. So I'm not sure if Artie was in S tier, then maybe I'd put Igniter Sorc like Giga S tier, like maybe a bit. Maybe something above S tier.
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so we're gonna have to make a vote, man. So I'm gonna stay out of this vote so we can have a 2-to-1. Do we put it in? Remember, we can move it based off of where we see the other classes, and we are trying to spread the tier list. Excuse me. So not every class is like S and A, right? So you put it. Averse would put it in the A tier. Mods, you put it in the S tier. Stoopzz, you're the tiebreaker on this one. Where do you got it?
I just feel like S tier is broken tier.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think S tier means.
Yeah.
I think Artillerist is really strong. I just don't know. Like I don't know confidently to, I'm gonna put it in the A tier just so that way the Artie books stay cheap and the boys can get them. let's put it in the A tier so that way if you're Artillerist man, it could be sleeper and you get some cheap books.
All right.
Easy clap.
All right, so I think we all agree between S and A. Datmodz favors the S tier, but 2 votes to 1 here, and we're gonna have it in the A tier for now. Again, we can move this.
A tier is good. I'm happy with A tier. That's still really good.
Okay,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good, especially a high A tier.
It Stoopzz with the market manipulation also again. When will this guy ever stop? He's just out of control.
I'm trying to help.
Someone needs to stop this man with his market manipulation, okay?
Oh my gosh. All right, brother. Let's talk about Deadeye. This is close to your class. Not really though. It's close to it in PvP. PvE it's quite different. But Deadeye, Averse, tell us about the gunner, the male gunner, Deadeye. What are your thoughts, man?
Yeah, this was the first class I made, but it was only in PvP. Yeah, not for PvE though, only PvP.
Gotcha.
I've seen some crazy videos of Deadeye damage. I think it's like Gunslinger, but purely back attack, and the damage numbers I've seen it do are insane. Yeah. I forgot what I watched. I've watched Korean videos and I've also watched videos on our version, but after seeing some stuff like that, I actually think it's like a top 3 class or maybe top 2.
Top 3. Okay, wow.
But it's definitely, I don't know how much we're taking into account like how hard it is to play, because it definitely is a lot harder to play than the other back attack counterparts.
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that. I think we should definitely take into account of how difficult it is to realistically get it off when you're like an expert at the class. So for example, right? Like a Blade, you can make the argument that Blade is difficult to play, Surge Blade, right? But like even if you're a master of the class, sometimes it's just like the fact that you have to build 20 stacks and then DPS gets really high, you might get screwed from phasing the boss. Like that's something that not even a skilled player can like really do anything about. For example, if the boss phase is literally in two skills, right? Because the DPS is so high, then there's nothing he could do about that, right? Versus, hey, this is difficult to play and control. You got to manage 12 skills, 3 stances, get to the back, all that stuff. Like, yeah, but like if you're a master at that class and you have the opportunity to do it, like Argos is kind of different because Argos is really cancer, right? But again, we are factoring in everything here. Okay, so I do want to make that distinction. That might have been a bad way for me to I don't know if that might have been a poor explanation, but you get what I mean, right? Like there are certain things that are considered hard that we should factor, and then there are certain things that are like, hey, this is difficult to play because you got to memorize 12 skills. You're not wrong, but that shouldn't really be a factor if you've really mastered the class, right? That's pretty much what I mean. Yeah.
I want to clear up. I meant enhanced weapon, by the way. I have no idea about pistolier. And
Right.
I saw some people just have freak out. Like, I wasn't talking about Korea. I was talking about like Helton videos of like people's DPS, and then just like overall just PvE content. The only problem is I've only seen like 2 Deadeyes on Athena at least that are really geared. I don't really see many at all.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
We had Cox and he's 15, 12. Really geared. We set him up. I've been doing this for a few classes. We set him up with a spec bard, a warlord, and a blade. That's a gunlancer. So the best possible synergy on Kunga, and let him pop Andropin, Dark Bomb, everything burst after he gets up with 3 bubble on spec bard. And the numbers are really crazy. So this is like the best case scenario for your class. You can't really get any higher damage than that on our version of the game.
That's the ceiling.
And he was getting like chain like 30 million crits. His burst was around like, honestly, it was close to 200 mil, but it was a chain of attacks. So like the boss, it's not just one attack.
Right.
I think it's got a really good synergy. I don't think it's all coming off in a matter of 1 second. It's going to take you your entire rotation to do that. Some classes, their entire rotation is 2 buttons. So I think it's really high A tier. I think if you're putting Blaster in A tier, I think it's really high A tier. I think it's only going to get stronger, by the way, because you get level 2 set bonus soon for entropy, and then level 3, and that's when the class really popped off. So I think it's high A tier, but I don't know. I just think ease of use does matter, right? Like if you can just do a bajillion damage in 1 skill versus having to unload like in a rotation that's like 6 skills, that I think does matter, right? So
right.
Really good class, super difficult to play in terms of it being squishy. It's back attack. And that's assuming you get everything off. Yeah, I think it's really strong. You could put it in, I think it's high A or S, but
would
I
you
would
have
put
it
high A.
Would you have it in front or behind Artillerist, Stoopzz?
I think the crit synergy is so valuable in the game, I would put it ahead of that.
Okay. What do you think, Mods?
But if you're not counting that, I don't know. But I think crit synergy is really good.
Yeah, we should definitely value synergy here. I think we should, for sure.
I don't play Deadeye, but I've played with a lot of them, and honestly, I can only tell you there's only been a couple good ones. I know like they're kind of like one of those perfect scenario classes where everything lines up. They know like boss patterns, they know when to burst and stuff like that. They do insane damage, but almost every single one I played with is dead all the time, constantly. And yeah, so I think it does have potential to do a lot of damage in a perfect scenario. But yeah, I don't know. Based off personal experiences, I'd probably put a B or A tier. If we're going solely off damage, S tier, right? S tier damage potential based off, the player's skill cap. I'll probably put a B tier. It can pop off though, right? If you're just doing straight up damage.
Right. So you think like even an expert player on Deadeye that's end game, playing it and piloting that class, you'd have them like in a B or A tier, Mods?
Yeah, compared to some other classes, B or A tier, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
like in raids or whatever, yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of a big thing here. What do you guys, where should we place this, guys? Averse, you had him at where? You said you had him at I can't remember what you said.
I said top 3, but Stoopzz is right about the entropy level thing. The back attacks get a lot better with the level up on that back attack set when they get level 3. So maybe without level 3, maybe like high A tier or low S tier, yeah. They are like a perfect scenario class. They're extremely hard to play. They're harder than Gunslinger for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So we have an SA tier, and then we have Mods at an AB tier, and then we have an A tier from Stoopzz. I think we have to place this in A tier to kind of balance it out, right? Like it's like based off of what you guys are saying, right? So like 8. So let's, if we're okay with putting in the A tier as a compromise, where should we put it? Behind or in front of the Artie? I think that's the big thing here.
In front, it's gonna get stronger and it's getting synergy. It has a better synergy.
Okay.
It gets stronger over time with set bonus, and crit synergy is broken.
Okay, I know Averse is gonna agree
I
with
agree.
that. Agree
I'll
with
agree, okay.
having you go ahead of Artie, so it's going to be a 2-1 again, Mods. But would you? I'm assuming you'd want it behind Artie, right, Mods?
I'd probably put it behind Artillerist. But you
Yeah.
get to put it in front. Yeah.
Damn, big Artie, man. Holy shit.
Big
You got a
Artie.
juiced one, huh?
Okay. So unfortunately, it is a 2-1. So we're gonna put this. I just wanted to get Mods' opinion out there, officially, but since
What about Artie? What about Artie stonks? You're trying to manipulate the market, Datmodz. You're
We're just
buffing
good,
it up.
man.
You're running it up.
That's-
You already have the build. You're running up the prices, Mods. You must still trying to afford their
There's
engravings.
already no items to buy for. Yeah, you can't even buy upgrades right now. You have to like hunt the auction house.
Averse, we got to start off with you here, man. We've come to your class, the Gunslinger. Should I just go ahead and put this D tier right now?
Yeah, it's definitely where she is. Yeah.
Where are we at? Where are we at with Gunslinger?
I used to think Gunslinger was like a really bad class because I compared it to all my friends' damages and stuff, and then I realized I just need to get 17 level 4 tripods, 7 level 10 damage gems, and now I do a lot of damage. So after I achieved all those things, I do a ridiculous amount of damage. Yeah, but the amount of money that Gunslinger costs in comparison to some of these other classes is a bit disturbing.
It's the same thing as Deadeye, though. Deadeye is really expensive. You have to invest a shitload, you know, for it to do damage.
it's because they're tripods. They have
Yeah.
weapon swaps, so they have no level 4 tri like Bao, right? He comes to me
He
one
just
day.
chills.
He's like, I did all my level 4 tripods, Averse. I have all of them. I checked the market. I can't even find like 7 for like 2 2s, and he could just find them whenever he wants.
Right.
And that's like one of the hardest things, the tripod availability on Gunslinger. But yeah, assuming your character is like juiced and the player is really good, the class is insane. Probably like S tier.
S tier. Would you have it behind Deathblade or in front of it?
Behind, yeah.
Behind Deathblade. What about you, Mods? What do you think?
I don't really play too much Gunslinger. I have a Gunslinger alt. It's on low pawn duty. It's very, very high skill cap, high investment. I'm not like specialized like Averse. I would put a B tier. It's like fun to play though. I like doing Chaos Dungeon and I like
damn, that was just totally gonna have B tier. Holy shit!
Wow.
With the Shadowhunter, man, hell no,
yeah,
man.
I'm throwing a B tier.
God,
Sorry.
damn, that much shit.
Dude, I never see good gunslinger. Like Averse is an amazing gunslinger. Outside of that, they're a rare breed.
God.
It's almost like seeing like an albino deer or something. What do you see an albino deer? Never. Play every once in a while.
Here's the reason why, though, because everyone over here,
there's so few of them. Like they have to be so good and so much investment. So that's why I put a B tier.
That's the same as Deadeye, right?
Yep.
Isn't that fair? I think you have at the current state of the game. I think if we're putting GS in S tier, then you have to put Deadeye in S tier, right? Deadeye now.
I'll put it there too.
I've said this a billion times. We're in the same patch as RU about like a small things, right? Like when we were playing back on RU, GS was busted. Anyone that had a GS was super strong. Nothing has changed. Deadeye's going to get stronger. That GS will fall off a little bit compared to Deadeye because the set bonus changes, right? But I think the crit synergy is really good. And just because ultimately people suck at it, like doesn't mean it's bad. I think if you're gonna, you have to put it wherever Deadeye get for our current version right now. I think GS is low key a very good class. Most people just suck balls, and it's the same reason. But there's no reason why you wouldn't suck balls on Deadeye either, right? It's even easier because you don't have to get behind the boss, right? So a little bit longer animation lock, a little bit, but I still think. I think you have to place it where you put Deadeye. So that's how I feel. If you want to put Deadeye in S tier. I just don't think Deadeye in our current version is an S tier class, and I think putting GS in S tier, I think it's A tier. I think it's A tier.
I think if we're gonna compromise, we're gonna end up having to put it in A tier again because it's one of those things. You know, Averse has an S, you have it in A, Mods has it in A B. I do want to reiterate this, and I see people maybe that are newer to the stream ask this. I do want to say this one more time. We are talking about that albino deer though, Mods. We are talking about, hey, this is a guy that is really good. This is an Averse playing Gunslinger. How's he gonna do when he's playing against the Averse version of Deathblade, of Artillerist, of, you know, like that? We're talking about, hey, this person is not like a god amongst men on classes,
Datmodz
but like a very good player.
Datmodz is doing some goddamn Vicus coaching course. He's getting this random GS that comes in here, just floor people being in the first 10 seconds. I mean, we're not talking about that guy off the goddamn floor. We're just talking about some guy that's a little bit more experienced, you know?
Like,
even in like Helltan stuff, right? Like you never, like even when I was running Helltan, you never saw like a gunslinger out damaging like Broken Bones, like Sork. Or like Broken Bones, you know, like a bunch of different classes. Or like Glaver.
I don't think it's as broken as Sork.
Yeah, like
Glaver.
Like general.
Hey,
yeah.
You're crazy as hell, man. Hold on, my feet's here.
Glaver's pop off in Helltan. You know what you're doing?
Yeah. So the criteria, this was already explained, by the way. Just I see your message in chat. You could just rewind the VOD or check the YouTube video. We literally prefaced this whole video with the criteria of this tier list. And you guys in chat that know what it is, you guys could maybe fill these guys in chat. Okay, so where do we place it? Where do we place it? So mods, do you have it? I think we're gonna end up having to put it in A, obviously, right? Because mods is A, B, Averse has it in S. I personally think this class, I'm on the same page with Stoopzz here. I think it's pretty close to Deadeye, and I'm one of those guys where like I'll be okay with it being low S, high A, but since Deadeye is in the A tier, I personally think it should be right there with it. Averse, you said it was the top 3, top 4 class, and then mods has it in the B tier, so I think we're just gonna have to put it in the A tier. It's gonna, so you guys, I know both of you guys, Averse and Stoopzz, you're not gonna put it behind Artillerist, so Datmodz, you're gonna lose the 2-1 again.
And I would put it behind Artillerist.
I know you would.
I would put it behind there.
I know you would, but you're gonna lose the 2-1 again. So the question now is, does it go in front or behind Deadeye? So it's obviously you go behind Deadeye if Mods has his vote. So where would you guys put it? In front or behind Deadeye?
If both are played like perfectly, I think Deadeye always wins. But it's just harder to play.
I agree. And if because skill, we're assuming, hey, these are people that are really good. I see you nodding your head over there, eating that kimbap. You got some kimbap? Oh, is that kimbap? Is that a kimbap burrito? Oh my. Look at, what is that face, dude? Stoopzz, I know you're gonna want it ahead of Deadeye, right? Or excuse me, behind Deadeye. You want it behind Deadeye? It doesn't matter, actually.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna put it. Datmodz is sitting over there. He's so mad. He's not happy with this.
I'm about to go flip over my.
I personally think, from what I've been hearing about Artillerist, I feel like it would. I'm only giving it ahead of it because of our synergy, but just pure damage wise, I'm pretty sure Artillerist does a lot more. But I don't know for sure. But synergy is really good, man.
I'm about to write the most angry YouTube comment message of all time. You're not even ready for it. I'm not even posting on. I'm posting on main.
Don't worry, my Korean main is next. I'm chilling, dude.
Oh my gosh. Sharpshooter. Should we just go ahead and put this S+ tier? Should we do this, guys? Is that what we should do? Where are we putting the Sharpshooter? Let me just start by saying this. I have a guy in my static that plays Sharpshooter. I've played with a few. And I've been fortunate enough to be playing with some juiced out, pretty skilled Sharpshooters. And let me tell you that they are not bad. I really don't think Sharpshooter is that bad when we're talking about like high level play with juiced out. But I digress. What do you think? What do you think, Stoopzz? And don't let your shitty KR character with no fucking cards on Akan influence your decision here. Okay.
No, it doesn't. No.
Okay.
Listen. The biggest steal on engravings right now is Deathstrike Sharpshooter. It's 4,000 gold.
Uh-huh.
The biggest steal in the engraving market is Sharpshooter at 4,000 gold. I'm not fucking kidding. I dead ass mean that. There's a guy named Bonking on KR. If you want to judge my Sharpshooter and compare it to people like Zeals, who's a $50,000 weapon, or Saint, who's 1625 on an ignition sword, sure. Compare them to Bonking. That guy was in the #1 clear party for April, and I almost think a con. He steals MVP all the time. In our current version, there is no entry reset level 2 and 3. People don't get this.
Yeah.
It's a Hitmaster based class. The synergy is not That is, it's like Shadowhunter. I would rather have a Sharpshooter in my raid for clown than a demonic Shadowhunter. 1000%.
Really?
It's the cheap. 100%. You're gonna find out real quick, bozo. When we go in there and you're trying to fucking hit the goddamn turret with a flamethrower and shit, and you're getting hooked, and we need a range. I'm like, Mods, kill the ball, and I can't. It is easy uptime all of the time at a really cost-effective price, and people don't get that, dude. Like it. Look at my Sharpshooter, who literally is missing 15% damage versus anybody I'm playing against on Korea. That's an extra level 3 engraving I'm missing. That's like me trying to compete with somebody at 4x3 at 5x3. That's huge. Right?
I do want to say
massive.
This, like in regards to what Stoopzz just said, for those of you who are thinking, oh, and like entropy level 2, level 3, and if you're one of the people that are thinking, well, it's only 5% difference, 3% to level 2. Well, first of all, we're going to have level 2 pretty soon, but it's not just about that, by the way, guys. For example, the moment your crit rate goes up 5%, it literally changes the effectiveness of Keen Blunt Weapon. So it's not, and that's just one example. So it's not just, oh, hey, how is it that entropy level 2 and 3 really, like, how is it that all of a sudden classes are good? Well, it can significantly change some certain classes, because that extra crit can really change the game with a lot of different things. And Keen Blunt Weapon is one.
I would personally, I literally don't care to put my class in D tier. I guess I put it in D tier and give every Sharpshooter an affordable. You want to make an affordable class right now that will do very good, that where dude steals MVP off more busted classes because it's more consistent and reliable and one of the best progging classes in the game. You could put it in D tier. My pitch for this class is at the very, very bottom of A tier, just because of the synergy. I would rather have it over Destroyer, Berserker. I'm not going to spoil my other tiers.
Right.
And Shadowhunter. It's a solid ass class, super cost effective too. But I think because I played a really scuffed one on KR for a long time, people think it's bad. But there are a lot of people that you can watch that are actually like do you have their card set complete, and you'll do a ton of damage consistently, which is different than a lot of other classes. You're definitely not as strong as a Sork. You're definitely not as strong as a Scrapper. You're definitely not as strong as a Striker. You don't have the synergies that Deadeye and Gunslinger have, and you're probably not doing, you don't get the entry reset bonus, but it's still a really consistent and reliable class that a lot of people like to play with. It just gets a shitty name for literally me and my scuffed ass Sharpshooter. I'm dead. No one plays the class, right? And I'm the only one complaining about mine because I don't have the card set. And I've been saying that for a while. If you're playing Loyal Companion or Second Ally, you're smojin. Deathblade, cheaper right now, very consistent class. I'd rather have it over a bunch of other classes in my group, especially for any class that provides 6% synergy. I'd give it the very, 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 very end of the A tier. But the lower you put it, the cheaper the books are. So it's a good deal for anyone.
What do you do? You think Sharpshooter needs a class revamp?
Visually, yeah, 100%.
Does it need an overhaul of skills too, with like locking stuff and whatnot?
There's just a ton of skills that are garbage that you never use. No, I don't think you need a visual revamp until getting locked out. I can fit my entire death ray rotation in before I can do like 2 skills on a Berserker. I think it's fine. I think if all of the attacks, the thing is what happens in Lost Ark, especially in our community, if you do a bunch of little numbers and all at once, people don't see them, and they don't visually think it's as strong as a class that dumps 100 mil at a time, right? So people will ignore the little numbers in Lost Ark a lot. And everything on Sharpshooter does four hits, right?
Right.
Like snipe should be one big skill, and if it was banging for like 150 mil every time, people would be like, oh, like this looks better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But because it hits like 25, 25, 25, 35, it doesn't look as strong. And I think visually the class is super smoj. But every single KR balance patch we've had, classes have got a visual rework. Destroyer, Shadowhunter, Summoner, Blaster. What else got one? Arcana. A lot of classes. Sharpshooter's probably on that list as well. So I don't know, man. Like I know I'm talking up the class a lot, but that's because people shit on it, and I wouldn't do it if I actually thought it was bad. I think it's a great, super affordable class right now that easily will still MVP off people because it's so consistent and easy to play. And I would literally rather have it than most 6% synergy melee classes in the game. Like I really would, especially with Clown and April. I would rather have it in all of that type of content. It's so country club, dude. You can literally be sipping a cola. Like, you know what country club means? You can have a little wine glass. You're just chilling, like you're not doing shit. It's so easy to play, bro. So,
Mods,
I don't know. I think Yeah.
I don't agree with the A tier. I think it's a decent class, like Stoopzz said. It doesn't have a super high skill cap, but it also doesn't pop off a lot of the other classes do. So, in terms of damage potential, I would probably put it at B or C tier, to be honest.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. What do you, Averse? You got to get your opinion here. I'm gonna give my opinion at the end of this, but I got to hear it from you, brother.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. We have 77 people in our guild, and I have 50 people on my friend list, and not a single one of them play Sharpshooter. So I don't think I've even played with a Sharpshooter. Maybe
Okay.
in like a random Vaulton group or something. But
Okay.
I don't even know. I don't even know people that play the class.
Have you
So,
played with any? Because I'm sure you play with people in. I'm sure you play with people in just like regular Legion raids, right? Like, have you ever played with 1500 plus, 1490 plus sharpshooters? No.
I think I've
I
bust a
have.
couple of like loyal
Mods has, okay.
companion Sharpshooters.
Oh,
but that's
see, yeah.
about
So
it.
like, okay. So for me, man, I don't personally play sharpshooter. I'll preface that, but one of my core static members that I raid with literally every single raid, he plays a Death Strike sharpshooter, and his name is Xiaopeng. My boy Xiaopeng. He's a 1500, and he's 1500 5x3 with attack power reduction level 1, just because he's free to play, right? He plays Death Strike. Bro, like early game, obviously Hitmaster, like our mid game, they're better than you know when the melee entropy classes start catching up end game. So we are talking about our end game. In our end game, I've never seen him in our parties 1500 plus, and we have a lot of 1490s, 1500 plus people that join our raids, and we just juice it. When he's on his sharpshooter, I've never seen him not at the very least upright fighter. He's either cruel fightering or upright fightering. And that's just like my perspective in a real world situation every single week, every single raid on a player that I know is playing the class effectively. He's juiced. Now, the thing about Sharpshooter, and Stoopzz was saying this before too, and I know exactly what he's parsing in Trixian too. Like, the DPS numbers in itself is actually not that high, even for
You're not going to parse one Trixian as Hitmaster.
Yeah, exactly what Stoopzz was saying. Like, you're not, the parse damage is a little bit lower, but the fact that the uptime is just insane. His uptime is insane on it. My personal opinion on Death Strike, right? It's called Death Strike, the burst one. My personal opinion is that it would also go in the A tier for sure. Back end A tier. I'm on the same page with Stoopzz here on this one. Since Averse doesn't have an opinion, we're gonna have to factor in.
Put in the
opinion.
B tier for cheap books.
So you have it a high B tier.
I put it in A, but put it.
Sharpshooter is A tier out of all the classes up here.
I don't think there are that many B tier classes.
Mm-hmm.
B tier doesn't mean bad. It just means
I don't think there's that many B tier classes though.
B tier doesn't mean bad though.
It does.
When we go through my classes, I'll show you what my B tiers are. But I don't think there are that many B tier classes.
See, if we're gonna put it in the B tier, I'm okay with it being like really towards the front of the B tier, right? Like if we are trying to spread the tier list. Okay. All right.
I just want to point out Death Strike went up by 3K. Stoopzz.
It's a good deal, baby. Get in that one. It's hot. Buy it now. Dude, I'm telling you right now, if you bought those books, that was the cheapest 5x3 solid class engraving you could get right now. There's another one when it comes up. It's solid, dude. It's solid. People are tripping. But it's because nobody plays it, right? So people will dumpster on it. And then go watch Bonking. Go ask Tofu. Go watch him play. Like,
guys, if you want to play it, just to keep plugging in people from our version, like seriously, come watch my boy Xiaopeng. Like, we do raids every Wednesday, Thursday. We try to knock out all of our raids by Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. If you guys want to see 1500 Death Strike 5x3 Sharpshooter, check out my boy Xiaopeng. Yeah, check out my boy Xiaopeng because I'm streaming it constantly. So if you guys want to see how much damage he's doing and how he's performing, you can check him out. I don't know of any other NA streamers that are 1500 plus, 1490 plus on Sharpshooter. If you guys know, definitely share it. Do you guys know anyone? Let's shout out.
I was gonna say Tofuin,
okay,
fantastic. Tofuin, he's always in my stream. Yes, he's KR, but also a great person just to ask, right?
Yeah,
Fantastic player to ask. He does hell modes on NA as well.
He's the GOAT, by the way. I feel like most sharpshooters have him as like the GOAT sharpshooter, Tofu.
He just knows a lot about the game. He does play on NA as well. I think he does hell mode raids. Bonking is a career. He's asked about NA streamers and stuff like that. And somebody was saying that I'm not basing my tier list off the market prices. I was just saying that people think the class is underratedly so bad. So you would, like Datmodz, for example, thinks the class is really bad. So that's why the engraving books are cheap. You put it in the goddamn C tier, man. I mean, see, if I came home to my mom and I got a C on my paper, you think she's happy? Fuck no, man. That's a goddamn C. You don't want that. No one wants to be in the goddamn C tier, man.
I think that's
you can put it in there. I actually don't mind.
I mean, it's overperforming compared to other classes, right? There's classes that clearly overperform based off current balance patch.
I put it in the goddamn AP.
Later on down the road, they might become better, right? They might move up. I'm just talking about current balance patch. It doesn't mean bad.
Man, you put goddamn GS in the goddamn C tier, man.
I don't even think Sharpshooter should be in front of Shadowhunter. I think Shadowhunter should be in front of Sharpshooter.
Yeah, all right. Well, we can put it behind it. You want to put it behind it?
I
still want to buy my books. I still want to buy my books. We can put it behind Shadowhunter, dude. I'm down.
People are thinking, people are accusing you of doing this based off of market prices because of shit like that you're saying. I know you're not.
I'm just saying. I'm okay moving it back. I want to buy one still. That's all right. Call the class shit. I'm being honest. I don't think the class is shit. I think people think it's shit.
Okay, I think it's in a good spot here. Let's talk about Arcana. This is Jadao's class. This is a newer. I think it's the newest class to release in our version, right? Let's talk about Arcana. Mods, why don't you lead us off on this one if you have an opinion? Okay.
Dude, there's some good Arcanas, and I'm not one of them. I made this class. I was playing it. Dude, high investment. You have to do your a lot of tripods, a lot of gems. A lot of memorization stuff. Oh my goodness, there's so much to do. Yeah. Even like both engraving, like another engraving, right? You just like pull Emperor card stuff. It's really, really good for Chaos Dungeon.
Oh, it's so fun for Chaos.
Yeah, it's fun pulling those Emperor cards back to back to back. It has, you have your crit synergy and stuff like that. It's very, very squishy. A really good player could pop off with this, like G-Dao, he's like an absolute gamer god. I'm kind of scared to rank this. I'll probably put a B tier. I'll probably put a B tier right now.
High B tier or low B tier for now? High B tier or low B tier?
Low B tier. Lowest on the list. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Lowest on the list. Averse, what are your thoughts on Arcana? Yeah.
Yes. Do you know the fight Maneth on our version? Like the guild fight, the PvE fight Maneth?
No.
Basically it's where you get like 50 people from your guild and you fight this boss, and it generally dies in like 8 seconds, and you have like 3 seconds to walk to the fight. So Igniter Sorks are like king on that boss, but we found out that Arcana rotation with Cole and whatever the other card is higher than Fortune.
Yeah.
It's higher than any burst that an Igniter Sork can put out. And when I learned that, I was like, wait, this class seems kind of busted. But it's RNG, and I heard its rotation in PvE is very RNG as well.
It is.
So I'm not really sure how to feel about that. That's one of the reasons I never even tried out the class. So just based on the fact that it's RNG damage, I would probably put it in B. But
gotcha. Yeah. So would you have it a high B or low B?
Well, I definitely think it's probably better than Sharpshooter, but I'm not sure.
Okay, gotcha. Look at Mods, he's so happy. Mods is so happy about that comment. Stoopzz, I know you mentioned it earlier. Okay.
No idea.
Okay, so I play in Arcana. I've been learning. I've been talking a little bit to Jadao about it, and it's one of my favorite classes. I'm terrible at it because I'm new to the class, but I'm pretty familiar with the damage potential. If we are talking about like potential damage, like the burst windows are definitely S tier if all the stars will line up. You have your cars, everything. But that's exactly the issue with the class, is that it's very RNG based depending on the cars that you get, right? My personal opinion, I think if you have an Arcana in our region that's 1500 plus, 1490 plus, and they are familiar with the class, very good on the class, and have their gear, I do not see this being lower than an A tier class. I really don't. I would have it at a solid A tier class. It's just very challenging. But if we're taking away the challenging factor of it, and that isn't an issue. Just like how we were talking about Deadeye. Well, you know, it's difficult to play, but we're talking about a master of the class. The only thing that cucks it is the RNG when it comes to Arcana with the cards, right? So I personally really think that it should be in the A tier. But yeah, we're gonna have to place it somewhere.
I think it's too RNG to be an A tier, right?
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's a fair argument.
With it, yeah,
that's a fair argument. Yeah.
If the RNG lines up, it's like.
Yeah, it's scary if the RNG lines up, and you'll notice a lot of Empress it's not like you're always cycling cards too, right? Like once you get the cards that you want, sometimes you'll hold on to them as well. So, but I get what you're saying, Mods, and what you're saying is not wrong. So we're gonna have to place this somewhere where you said both of you guys at the top, you guys said B tier, right?
Above Sharpshooter for sure.
Above Sharpshooter. Are you good with above Sharpshooter? Yeah.
That's what they said.
Where would you put it, Stoopzz?
I have no idea. I literally have no idea.
Okay.
I'll let you know right now. I don't have a Sharpshooter instead of a goddamn Shadowhunter and a fucking Arcana. That's for sure.
Okay.
I don't think I'll bring either of those to my goddamn group.
Okay. So Mods and Averse, you guys wanted in the B tier ahead of Sharpshooter?
I probably agree with what you said, because thinking about it, I think if their cards do line up, it's probably S tier, which usually really doesn't happen.
But,
so maybe the RNG like averages out or something. Maybe it'll be A tier. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mods, you would have this in B. B
probably, or do we want to first seek tier character? Ruffle everyone's feathers a little bit.
There's no way Arcana.
C tier, goddamn.
I refuse to put it in C tier. There's no chance. No chance.
B tier.
I don't know anything about Arcana, man. I really don't know. I just heard like weird, like people say it's broken, they say it's not good. I don't know, man. I don't know anything personally. I know Jadau's Arcana is crazy, but we're just talking about our version.
Our version, yeah.
And I don't know. I don't want to give an opinion. I don't know.
Okay, so it seems like our panel with this one, quick disclaimer here, a little bit less experienced with the Arcana class. So we are going to place it in the B tier because I think that's the average. I think that's the average, right? We're putting it at the end of B tier then. End of B tier. Mods wants to end of B tier.
The very end.
Averse, where do you want it? Do you want it?
I kind of don't know much, so it'd be off you and Mods, yeah.
Okay.
Mods decides where the Arcana goes. Mods determines the fate of all Arcana players. It's all on you, Mods. When this video goes live and people watch it, they're gonna come to your stream and say, "How dare you, Mods? How dare you blast my class?"
Let's throw it in C tier. I kind of want a couple haters. Let's get it rolling.
No, we can't do C tier because we can't do C here. But I think the votes we had the vote from Averse. Stoopzz isn't giving it a vote, so my vote's gonna count for the B tier here. The end of B tier. Well, I'm conceding the end of B tier. I could try to make a point and be like, no, we're gonna compromise, put it in the middle. But since I haven't been a part of the tiebreakers yet, unless I had to, we're gonna go with yours. We're gonna put it at the end of B tier. Okay. Here we go. All right. Now we've got Bard. I mean, do we really need to? Should we remove Bard and Pally? Because I feel like it's
S tier.
There's really nothing.
Like, they're instantly S tier.
Yeah. So
it's not. You can't even. How like group up.
I've learned to love Bards way more.
Oh man, they're your best friend.
I've learned to love Bards more than Paladins for sure.
Okay, how about we do this?
I agree.
How about we do this?
Since like spec Bard to make your damage bigger.
I think in our game when everything's so meta defined, playing with the Bard, everything's so just like on farm. I would much rather have a Bard than a Paladin. I think when you're on farm, I think when you're on prog, having a Paladin's fantastic early on because you just always have the damage buff. There's no really decision making there. But when you have a fight on farm. Not even just a spec board, having 3 bubble on farm just makes it so you can blow bosses up, and I think that I think that's a lot more at least enjoyable to play with, to be honest. But Paladins are fucking insane too, so you can put them both in S. But I'm just saying, I've learned.
So let's do that. I'm gonna actually since these guys, Pally and Bard is in its own tier. We're just gonna put both the supports at the top left, but we will have to determine which is number 1, Bard or Pally. I judging from what Stoopzz is saying, it sounds like he wants to have Bard ahead of
I don't know. You're making me choose. You have a cleanse on Pally.
You do.
You have better counters. Better counters and a cleanse. Yeah, I think if you want a prog content, Paladin's great. I think if you're trying to you got something kind of figured out, I think playing with the Bard is just you can just set up such crazy burst windows. I don't know.
We're not going to do this for the other classes, but mods, not mods, like my mods on the channel. Guys, I want mods, if you guys could put up a poll right now, I'd love to see what the chat thinks. Right now we have about 3,000 people, so I'd love to see what you guys think in the chat. Which is the better support on the tier list? Where would you guys rank it? Bard or Pally? Bard or Pally? And we're going to make a decision based off the panel. Steve, you're going to have to come up with one.
Okay, all right, we move on. We come back to it. I'll think.
Okay, what do you guys think? Mods, Averse, what do you guys think? Pally
it's kind of like situational. Like for Bard, like if we're just doing like farm content, you want to do more damage. I love Spec Bard, right? It's just so fun seeing the big damage numbers. For progging stuff, I don't know. I usually just feel safer with Paladin. I feel like Bard had a little bit higher skill cap. With stuff where Paladin, you just have your little campfire running around. You got your cleanse. You just got this little passive heal. So if you're playing good, you're really not going to take too much damage. So sometimes you just want to get topped up. Paladin's got really good counters. I don't know. I feel like a little bit safer with Paladin on prog most of the time. And you don't have to worry about like jumping in some heal thing either, right? And the bars that just totally heal on the ground. Paladins, they just got the big aura that just follows you around.
So you would put Pally ahead of Bard, mods? If you had to choose, if you have to choose,
I like honestly, like I feel I like playing with Paladins a little more than Bards.
Okay,
just by a very very small margin, not a large margin.
Okay,
but just a very very small margin. I feel safer with Paladin most of the time.
Averse, what do you think? Which would you be rather rolling with? What are your thoughts?
It would be Bard without question for me, but there's a few reasons why. One, all back attackers prefer Bards. And Spec Bard gives
my guy
crazy damage boosts. And in Healthstone specifically, Bards have access to Rhapsody, which is push immune, and Rufion's on Paladin isn't push immune. Among that and other reasons, like Bard has I don't know if this is true. I don't know if Paladins have a damage reduction on the boss, but Bard also reduces damage reduction on the boss. Forgot what skill does that. I don't know if Paladin does that. But that's another reason why I think Bard is really good. But yeah, the biggest reason I think is the fact that back attack classes love Bard. Yeah.
Yeah, you're speaking my language, brother. I'm a stronger man. I personally, if I had to choose as well, if you asked me this question 6 months ago, I would have probably chosen Pally. But right now, after I've been playing on NA for however long, and at this point in my Lost Ark career, I would be putting Bard ahead of Pally, but again, very small margin, man. Very small. I don't give a fuck to be. I put them together, but since for the purpose of this tier list, we have to choose one, I would put Bard ahead. I would place it ahead, but yeah, that would be my vote. But my vote doesn't matter when it comes to these tiebreakers because it'll be 2-2. So I'm gonna exclude mine unless Stoopzz doesn't have an opinion and refuses to give one. Then it'll be me and Verse's opinion against Datmodz.
I just think that they're both really situational. So I mean, you can just be. I mean, you pick Bard, so it doesn't really matter, right? I just think that it's just super situational. I don't think people like it is. I think Bards and Paladins are both good for different types of things. I think they're actually pretty well balanced. And like Paladin has a cleanse, has really good counters. Bard doesn't have that, doesn't have a cleanse. Counters aren't as insane as Paladins. One provides more burst damage, one provides more consistency. The one that provides a cleanse is more consistency, which is good for prog rating. I think they're both really, really good. I actually don't think you can go wrong at all.
Okay, so I think it's pretty clear here that everyone on this panel is in agreement that they are on the same level. If there's a difference, it's very marginal. I think Averse is a little bit more in favor of the Bard. So since the three of us are in agreement that it's like if there is a difference, it's on the same margin, I'm just going to go ahead and put them together and we won't call it, hey, Bard is better than Pally. I'll go ahead and put Pally to the right of Bard just because, you know, ladies first, right? But we're just going to go ahead and say that they are at the same level. I mean, it's support. They really are at the end of the day. Okay, so all right, let's go with that. Let's go with that. And we've got the Sorceress next. Why don't we start with you? Because you're talking, Averse, you were talking a little bit about Igniter Sorg. Thoughts on Igniter Sorg?
Broken.
Broken, okay.
Yeah, broken.
Hard S tier is what you're thinking, yeah?
Yeah, I need to find a screenshot that describes Sorg very accurately for me.
Right,
so you can come back to me on that, and then I'll get you a screenshot.
Mods, what do you think?
I don't agree. It's like there should be above S tier for damage. Igniter Sork, absolutely insane. If you're a reflex enjoyer, it's fun, highly mobile, right? You can go crit build, you go all out attack casting build, you go pure swiftness build, and just literally roll your face across your keyboard and do good damage. Yeah, like it's just top tier S damage.
Okay, so you have in the S tier as well.
Both class engraving, they're good. Yeah, there's like, it doesn't really compare.
All right,
to
so
else,
regardless of what Stoopzz says, this is gonna go in the S tier, guys. I'm also in agreement with you guys. Where would you guys actually put it in the S tier, though? Really, it's gonna be in front of Deathblade or behind Deathblade. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you your opinion here in a second, Stoopzz. In front of Deathblade. Both of you guys would have it in front of Deathblade? Averse?
Yes, I think so. Just because not back tech. Yeah.
Okay, Stoopzz. We were talking about Sorceress here. Both these guys have it in front of Deathblade in the
so
S tier.
good. It's so good, yeah.
Okay, all right. You
also,
good with...
but fuck Sorks that don't play counter, man. That shit is so annoying, dude. When Sorks don't have a counter, they don't even play that on their toolkit. And they can't counter anything. You see them just run away from the boss. Sork's really OP, dude. It's very strong. Insane burst.
You're good with having it in front of the Deathblade there?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
let's do that.
Yeah. It's Hitmaster. It just blasts. Yeah.
All right, perfect. That was a quick section.
I posted the pic for you, by the way.
Okay, let's see it. It's in the group chat. All right, hold on. Let me see this.
You have an issue with like saying not running counter Stoopzz? Is this something like you're trying to like let us know right now?
No.
Feel like something personal?
Well, we're doing Hell Clown. Saint just runs away, dude. Saint also hides behind my body, dude. When Hell Clown he shoots at the cards, Saint blinks behind me and tries to hide so you can avoid getting hit by the cards. He does a lot of fucking dirty shit, dude. He runs away from the boss because I don't have a counter. I play Sork, and then he'll blink behind me and hide to use my body as the shield for the cards. It's funny. Yeah, Sork's really strong, man. I mean, it works so well with Bard. It's really strong.
This image is fucking gold. I'll link. Yeah. This image is actually gold, man. I'll link this in the chat for you guys to use.
Yeah, that thing just flashbanged me so hard.
Sorry. Okay. That's actually hilarious. All right, so we're moving on, guys. Lance Master is next. The Glavier. Mods, why don't you start us off on this one, my man? Why don't you?
This is my main, and honestly, I think it's A tier. It's just a very, very well balanced class right now. High mobility, high damage. Both engravings are fun. If you like stance, dancing, swapping, Pinnacled really good. You don't have to back attack. You kind of just position anywhere. You have a parry, right? That's really, really strong for mitigating attacks and whatnot. You got good burst with your ulti, control, entropy. You got to chase butt. I think Stoopzz likes it. He doesn't like, stance dancing and stuff. But
no, I like it. It's too expensive.
I think it's probably A tier. I'll put A tier. It's just a nice, really, really well-balanced class. It's not really the best at anything, but it's just good overall, right?
You'd obviously have it in front.
You got multiple counters too and everything else.
Yeah, you would have it obviously in front of the Deadeye, right? Datmodz? Top in the front of A tier? Is that where you place it?
We're just talking about damage Deadeye, and Gunslinger will probably out damage it most of the time, but yeah.
How are people in chat saying Lance Master is C tier though? What is that? Why are people chatting Lance Master is C tier? What is this?
Some bad ones.
Dude, bro, I actually was adding people. Send me your own tier list. I'll put it up on screen. C tier. You guys are crazy. Absolutely crazy, dude. The class has amazing stagger, amazing destruction. It's consistent damage. And it's got, I think it's A tier. The synergy is great.
I honestly think the reason...
It's like your jack of all trades Swiss Army knife. It's not really the best at anything, but it's good at everything. It's not bad at any single thing.
Yeah, I think it's an A tier class.
It is.
I think
it has good synergy too.
Yeah.
I think what the people that are saying that it's in a lower tier, I think those are the people that are like, well, Pinnacle is the engraving, and in KR, Pinnacle isn't doing very well because of mass increase and all that stuff. I have a feeling that is the reason why the people that are saying it should be in a lower tier, they're basing it off of the KR endgame meta. Okay, that's just my.
They are.
That's
They're
my
not going to be
guess.
using mass increase anymore. Because they got the red buff now, so everyone's gravitating towards
Yep.
raid cap, and they're
Yep.
running 4-3 or 3-4 or
Yep,
all out
yep,
attack
yep.
builds.
Yep.
So
Are most
Previous-
are most
absolutely.
flavors on NA, I don't know, like not good or something?
I would
Is that what-
imagine. Yeah.
Is that what it is, or it's not that hard of a class to play? It's actually really easy and smooth.
Pinnacle in our version is way better than it is in KR endgame right now. Pre-buff. I don't know how it's performing in KR now after the buff. But pre-buff, our version of Pinnacle was definitely better. Like Control was better than you know what? Forget. I'm not gonna actually. I'm not gonna go on that point because I don't want to talk about KR. This is our version, our region. Okay, so Averse, what are your thoughts on Glavier here?
I've ran with them a lot in hell mode and buses as well. I think they're a really strong class. I wouldn't put them higher than Artillerist, Gunslinger, or Deadeye, maybe at the back of A.
Okay.
But I think they're super solid. They have a crit synergy. They have counter access, which you can bypass a lot of mechanics.
Sure.
It's just really, really strong, good overall class. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree. Where should we place this then? I personally think if it's going to be in the A tier, I personally think it's going to be behind Artillerist as well. I think I'm on the same page with you, Averse.
yeah, I think that's a good place for it. Yeah.
Okay,
I think so
great.
too.
Perfect.
Back A tier. Nice all-around character. But not
I agree.
amazing at anything.
Awesome.
Not the best at anything, yeah.
Okay, so now we are going to be talking about the class that is actually better than Bard, according to the Koreans. Okay, I'm going to stop talking about the Koreans. Scrapper. Scrapper is next, guys. And when we are talking about these classes, we are talking about, I don't want to say we're averaging both engravings, but we're talking about whichever engraving is like the better performing one, right? Like that's pretty much what we're talking about. Scrapper, we've got a new Scrapper main on board here on this panel. He goes by the name Stoopzz. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your Scrapper and your thoughts, Mr. Stoopzz?
C tier.
C tier.
Dude, that thing is so gross, man. It is so strong. It is so good. You know what's funny? I used to shit on Scrappers all the time back in the day, dude. I used to make fun of Bao Bao. Like, Bao Bao, he played the most smooge class in the game. Then they buffed the shit out of Shock. That class is so strong. It's so easy to set up damage. And what makes it sick is that you don't like, you're not all in on Surge. Everything that you have on that class bangs. Like literally everything. You have Supernova, Death Rattle, and then you can play Tenacity on a skill that also rips. It does, and it's gonna get stronger with entropy sets. And it's super tanky, has a spammable counter. The only thing is the synergy is kind of what I have, but it's so strong, man. Like, I don't know. It's such a like, it seems like such a good class after playing it. It's just so. Just always has damage. There's no setup. There's nothing you have to do for it. You press one button, boom. Press one button, boom. It's like, it's just so free.
Consumer. It doesn't need good synergy. It's supposed to get the synergy from its teammates.
Really good class.
Mods, why don't you tell us your opinion on Scrapper? Do you play a Scrapper? Is that one of your 17 alts?
I do play Scrapper, yeah. Foss is actually telling me to rank it D tier because he doesn't want anyone else playing it and he wants the price of everything to go down, but I'm not going to listen to his bribes. Scrapper's amazing. Stoopzz already covered a lot of it. I like Taijutsu. I really like Shock, big numbers. Taijutsu, you have a couple different builds and have your split build between crit and swiftness. You don't feel punished for missing anything. You always got your debuffs out, good stagger. You have good chip damage, right? Good destruction. Yeah, you're just always doing good damage. And I'll put it S tier, to be honest.
Where would you have it in the S tier, Mods?
I probably had a Deathblade, but behind Sork.
Okay,
you bring the Deathblade for the Scrapper, not the other way around. Remember that, okay? I bring the synergy for the goddamn Scrapper.
Deathblade has better synergy for the Scrapper, but man,
yeah,
Scrapper
you're right. It's Robin the Batman. It's Robin the Batman.
Yeah, you never feel like you're punished playing Scrapper. You're always doing damage. Yeah.
As true as that is, you'll never ever get a Blade to join a party that will have that mindset. The play's gonna fuck that. It's for my Surge. Yo, Averse, where would you have this thing? Do you agree with D tier?
No, absolutely not.
Take it out of there.
This class is broken. I think Taijutsu is 10 times more fun than Shock. It's the only class
Shock? Wow.
No, No, Baba baited you. Baba baited you.
You don't like it to like the play style?
You play
don't
GS
like
though. You play GS. You kind of like the little.
Yeah. I mean, I just think Shock is just like Surge, just like Deathblade. Like they all like play the kind of same. Their damage comes through a couple of abilities, and they always try to hit the back. Taijutsu just feels so fun. I don't know.
It's a good thing
but
though. The class has a lot of bug builds. Yeah.
Shock is way stronger. And Shock is incredibly strong. The only reason I wouldn't put it behind Blade, maybe it would be Maelstrom. But maybe if every Surge doesn't crit, Scrappers. Wait, sorry. Maybe if every Surge crits, Deathblade is stronger than Scrapper, but maybe on average, Scrapper will always be stronger than Blade.
You just not to cut you off. I just want to. When I was making my Scrapper, there were so many TIE Scrappers. Like, dude, why are you making Shock, man? TIE's way better than Shock. TI's way stronger than Shock.
Oh yeah.
And then after I made that, after I made that, I was blasting the boss, and then they were like, afterward, I got all quiet. There's just chatting emotes.
So
it's fun though. It's just not.
No,
better.
it looks.
Yeah.
Dude, I was watching some gameplay. It looks fucking.
Yeah, it is.
It looks fun. Yeah.
I think a good place to place this would be between Sork and Deathblade. Then where would, just out of curiosity, if we were talking about Taijutsu, where would you guys place it? Just real quick.
I don't know. I don't have any experience on it.
Like in Trixian, like if you boost up your character, it's almost the same damage, right? But a perfect scenario patchwork fight where you're always hitting all your back attacks every single time. So it's kind of like a little different, right, than a boss of movement.
That's interesting. I didn't know they were actually parsing the same damage. That's interesting. Yeah.
I'd probably put it behind Gunslinger.
Effect is not very, it's not very big at all. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys still have it at like an A tier. If we were talking about Taijutsu, yeah. Okay, cool. Soulmaster, Soulfist. This is an interesting class.
Datmodz has one.
I've talked to Benji about it a little bit. This is probably, me personally, the least, like I'm like, this is a class that I've been recently kind of looking into and studying. But Datmodz, since you play one, why don't you tell us your opinion?
I've played a lot of Soulfist. It was my main in KR. I played Goku build. But now I play Energy Overflow after the buffs, and dude, it's fun. Low cooldown, super high mobility, really, really easy to manage your energy and keeping it low counter. You're always blasting damage. I'd never lose MVP on this character. It's fucking sick. Oh shit, I cursed. Am I getting canceled?
No, it's totally fine.
In terms of straight damage output and even like gearing up, it was one of my cheapest characters to gear up endgame. It does take a little more juice to get up right, but we're talking high-end characters, so low-end. But if you're playing robust, it's kind of smooth. If you don't have a lot of spec, you don't have your relic gear, but we're talking about 1490 characters. Yeah, Energy Overflow, I'll put it in S tier. It pops off in terms of pure damage. Yeah.
S tier. Where in the S tier? Before or after Deathblade? Or in front of Scrapper.
It's a really, really good buffs, right? You don't have to back attack on it either, right? That's the other thing. You're not forced to back attack.
Well, you got one skill that you want to try to land on the back, but yeah.
Damn, all your class in the high tier, bro. You should have put Artillerist in the S tier. You should have put fucking.
Dude, it's
S tier. Where would you put it? Where would you put it?
Have you ever seen a Soulfist not do crazy damage?
Dude, Soulfist pump.
I don't really see Soulfist.
That's the that's the issue, Steve. So, like for me personally, like outside of the research that I've been doing as of late, I'm doing this research because this is the one class that is not that common. I run raids all the time. I have a ton of juice. I've got a bunch of juicers that are always in my raids. So I feel like I have a pretty good feel for performance at like our current endgame. This is the one class I very rarely get to see. The one time that I actually ran with it was like a 1490 Energy Overflow Soulfist was in my, I think I was like running a raid with Zeals, and at the time I think I was 1500 on Striker and he was like 1495 or something on Energy Overflow, and he cruel fightered every raid. Like I think I crueled in gate 2 with him, and he cruel, and I upright fightered the rest, and he cruel fightered every single one. He was just pumping, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Now, I don't know. I know there's a lot of factors involved, cards and all that stuff, but Personally, I haven't had that experience playing with too many energy overflow Soulfist in our region, but the ones that I have seen fucking juice. They juice really hard when they're on it, when they play well. So I don't know. That's I digress, but that's pretty much the only experience that I have with that class. Averse, what are your thoughts on Soulfist, bro?
It's a class I don't see much as well. But when I do see it, it always does a lot of damage. And
Yeah.
the juiced Soulfist I see always do a lot of damage. I don't really know how hard the class is or what class engraving is the best, but I definitely maybe wouldn't put it higher than Artillerist, Gunslinger, or Deadeye, but maybe it is. I'm not exactly sure.
Right. They're fucking rare. NA, guys, what do you guys, NA EU, guys, you guys need to play more Soulfist. I want to see this shit. I want to see this. Okay.
Benji said you literally play with him because Benji was in my raid group for a con. When I watched Benji's gameplay on Soulfist, it's like fucking, it's like 3 little Buddha palms, and then she's like these little balls, like these little balls, and the little balls do like 9 mil. That's like this little baby beam or whatever. And I mean, it's falling crazy, but it's not like he's dumping out like 500 milli meteors. It's just like little like 9K. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I literally
but they have like low time, and you also have to manage your hype meters. So a lot of times you'll just be hype meter 2, and then if you know that you have a good burst phase, you'll be hype meter 3. If you were talking about energy overflow, but it's like it's a lot of smaller numbers, but it's consistently right. Because you have really high swiftness, so you don't really have downtime on your abilities. Right, you could cancel your ulti with pet swap. It does. I don't know. It does a lot of damage in our region.
I gotta watch yours. I gotta watch
energy also too. That's the thing.
I gotta watch yours more often, actually.
Yeah, I do too. I will. Here the thing. I don't personally think it should be in the S. If we are talking about just pure damage, I think it should be S tier for sure. But I don't think it belongs in the S tier in our tier list, just because, kind of like the issue that Surge Blade has on certain mechs, that like even if you're a really good player, it's kind of unavoidable, especially in the comp that you're in. Managing that hype meter, like the moment you get into hype 3 and a cutscene happens or you phase, like you're really fucking your DPS, right? So like the fact that class is really sensitive to that, and this is also coming from Benji. We talked about it over dinner, and it's true, right? Like the moment you. And I know the counter argument to that is like, well, Kanon, you're talking about experts in the class. Yeah, well, like even experts can't avoid that situation, you know, every single time, right? Like that particular thing, right? So I think that also needs to be accounted for when we are talking about this class. I'm okay with not factoring, hey, this is a hard class to play. You have to manage this. It's like low cooldowns, maintaining buffs, keep it under 30 energy. That stuff I feel like a master can handle, but the issue with hype 3 and just managing your hype stance like through these cutscenes or phases, I think that's something that should be factored into it, my personal opinion. So with that said, I would personally put in the A tier. Datmodz, you said you had it in the S tier. Averse, you said you had it in the A tier behind Artillerist. Stoopzz, where would you put it?
Oh no. I don't want to give my opinion on something I literally don't know. I feel wrong doing that. I have no idea. I don't know where to put it.
One thing that you didn't mention also on energy release, you also have a group-wide cleanse. So in addition to like group damage reduction, always up damage buff, you also got a cleanse too, which is obviously helpful for a lot of current fights that we have in our region, right? Like how many people that you know run Voltan just getting hit by all the bleed attacks constantly, right? You're like, I don't want to waste a health potion. Let me just cleanse real quick.
That's true. I see Joe.
But yeah, we're just talking about content that's released in our region, right?
Yeah,
not
our
any
region.
Other region right now.
Yeah, our region. Yeah. I see Joe 42 saying that is his message in chat, literally the same time as Datmodz is saying. You're absolutely right. I think that should be taken account for. Obviously, my lack of experience in the class, you know, those types of things are not coming to mind. So again, I'm kind of with Stoopzz here, but based off of what I've seen, if I had to give an opinion, I'd put it there. But I'm with Stoopzz. I really don't have that much experience with it. Guys, we're gonna have to place it somewhere. Where should we place it?
A tier is fine.
Yeah,
It seems like
I would put it at the top of A tier. I wouldn't put it behind Deadeye. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think the fact that Stoopzz and I and Averse were a little bit kind of like, hey, this isn't really our expertise here. Let's go with your opinion, and let's put Soulfist ahead of Deadeye here. I know Averse said he'd probably put it behind Artillerist, but since you're the one with the experience here, let's make this concession to Datmodz. So we've got Soulfist at the top of A tier right now. And we've got the worst class in the game coming up next, Striker. This class is definitely D tier. I don't care what they tell you. We're just going to skip over this. Let's talk about Wardancer. I'm going to put Striker in the D tier. No. Okay, so we got Striker next. This is my main class. I will just start by saying that this class in our region, our end game, I personally believe that this should absolutely be in the S tier. And I've had debates about nerf and all this stuff. I'm happy to talk about that later, but if we are talking about this tier list, our current endgame, I think Striker is absolutely in the S tier. My personal opinion. Why don't we start with you, Averse? Where would you have Striker?
Well, I definitely would put it in S tier. I do not know if it's better than Blade or Scrapper. I played Scrapper and I played Striker. I've never I just don't know what would be the difference between Striker, Blade, and Scrapper, other than just their big damage numbers on Deathblow, Surge, and like Death Rattle or Supercharge. So I'm not sure. I would put it somewhere in S tier.
Okay.
With the Deathblow build, I have no idea about the Esoteric build.
Yeah. Okay. Mods, what do you think?
So I don't play Striker. I played it like a little bit in Russia, but dude, Stoopzz always just linked me clips like, "Yo, bro, check out my damage. It's so huge," and like critting for 100+ million. You know what I mean? In the group, I don't really pop off, so I don't really feel confident in placing in the tier list. But I do know if you like big numbers, you just like pumping damage. This is the class for you, right?
Stoopzz, I see you grinning over there, bro. I see you grinning over there. What are your thoughts, brother?
I think it's gross, dude. I don't know. I think it's the same thing as. I just think that Sork, Scrapper, Striker, and then maybe Deathblade are just really.
Right.
Just dude, like there's zero. You just fucking there's like zero setup. You press one button, boom. I hit for 130 mil. Perfect scenario. I had Parasite do it. He hit for 198 mil. He's level 60. I'm level 57, and I'm 1470 at an 8 item level. And this guy's got to build up 20 stacks. I just, and then following that is like the Tiger emerges for like 240 mils. It's like 220 mil for like zero effort. You know, I know you're don't get upset. I'm not saying it's easy to play. I'm not saying it's easy to play because I suck when I'm doing on the Wolf. I'm not landing shit. But to actually just do that combination and how fast you get it out, that's really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I've heard a lot from other people that ESO is really strong too. So like, and it's got the crits, it's got the it competes with it's got the insane synergy too. It competes with Wardancer. It's like, I don't know. I just think the class is really strong and it's gonna keep getting stronger, right? So
right. Okay, so I'm gonna give my opinion here. Just because,
it's your class.
Obviously it's my class. So here's what I would say. It's definitely S tier. Now I think the comparison comes with Blade. I think the comparison. Oh, camera's going out of focus. I think the comparison should be made with Blade. Now, the biggest difference between if we're going to compare these two classes, it's pretty simple. Like to get your burst out as a Striker is significantly easier than Blade. Obviously, Blade has to stack the stacks for Surge. But the damage ceiling is higher for Blade, right? Because obviously Surge hits a lot harder. And there's a lot of people you could say, well, the full rotation of Strike, etc. When it comes to actual burst with Surge hits harder than Tiger Strike, even though I know that Tiger Strike is followed up with Tiger Emerges, but you also have to use an additional 2 skills that are relatively slower to be able to get the Tiger Emerges off. And if we are talking about a real world situation, bosses are moving, etc., etc. Pretty much, it's much easier to get your damage off as Striker with a slightly lower ceiling versus Surge. It's much more difficult to get your damage off, but with a higher ceiling. But Blade also comes with that synergy, and Striker synergy is also excellent. But the uptime on the synergy is kind of smudged. It's only 4 seconds, right? 4 seconds on a much longer cooldown versus the back attack synergy that's always there on top of the Maelstrom. So like if we're talking about
that's a nice sales pitch,
that is so like that's the comparison. Like where you value that, if you say, hey, the damage output and the ease of output, like here's an example. There's no way I'm going to be out damaged by an equally geared Surge Deathblade for like the first half of the fight in in Vika's Gate 3, right? But there's no way I'm gonna beat that same Deathblade on Turtle, right? So it really kind of is situational, from my personal opinion. Striker is significantly easier to do your damage, or to actually do your combos and get your damage out, but it's not the easiest to realize that damage. And the same goes with Surge Deathblade, right? But the ceiling is a bit higher. So personally, I would put Striker, because of the synergy, because I'm really valuing that synergy, right? I would personally put Striker behind Deathblade when it comes to it, but definitely in an S tier. But I would be okay with it being ahead of Deathblade, excuse me, there.
I had a change of opinion a little bit after I looked up class synergies on these crits. So there's only 3 18% crits in the game: Cleaver, Striker, and Wardancer. And Gunslinger gives a 10% constant crit rate, but Striker gives a 18% crit rate for 6 seconds. All the broken classes in the game do their damage within.
Is it? I thought it's 6 to 8 or 4 to 6. Yeah. Okay. Let's go with 6 for now. Yeah.
All the broken classes in the game, like with the highest damage, all do their damage in like a 4-second to 6-second window. So it makes me think Striker might be a little bit more OP than I think, because they offer the highest crit percentage on, like, it'll help out Igniter Stork more, it'll help out Deathblade Surge more, it'll help out Scrapper more. So maybe I'd put it higher than Blade, and maybe higher than Scrapper. Not sure.
Okay. We've got Averse. So Averse, you would put it between Scrapper and Deathblade, yeah? Striker?
Yeah, probably Scrapper and Deathblade.
Okay,
yeah.
Mods, where would you put Striker?
I don't really have enough experience on it. I just know it does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But everyone just says it's DPS Overlord class, so yeah. I just watch people play it. It's an S tier somewhere. I don't know where to put it. I don't know if it. Yeah, I don't know. I just know it does a lot of damage.
Okay, Stoopzz, where would you put it? Would you put it behind or in front of?
I think it matters where you are. You're in the S tier. You're literally in S tier. Like, it could be anywhere. You're literally you're like literally amongst the strongest classes in the game. I don't think it necessarily matters. We can just put it where you'd like, Kanon. I don't think it necessarily matters.
I agree.
Okay. Well, for me, I'm going to put it behind Deathblade, just because I think while the crit synergy is great, having it for 6 seconds, it's not 100% uptime on it, and it's always going to be centered around the Striker's own Tiger Strike, right? So it's a little bit less, it's a little bit more difficult to match it up and line it up with burst windows. Although, I mean, don't get me wrong, you should probably line it up because you're trying to Tiger Strike in those burst windows, which means the crit synergy should be up. It's a great synergy, one of the best in the game, to add insult to injury. However, I just think the 9%, it's close, guys. It's really close, because because Surge, 20 stack Surge it's definitely more difficult to actually realize that damage despite the ceiling being higher. But I just think that synergy 9%, if you're a back attacking class and you could choose between Striker or Deathblade being in your party, who are you going to pick? I think every single person in the world is going to try and take the Deathblade, right? Because it's like, and for that reason, I would put Striker behind.
Unless I'm the Striker, baby. Then if I'm the Striker, then it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Right? I mean, okay, so I guess people would rather take a Deathblade, Deathblade 100%, right? Because of the buffs at the end of the day, right? Because it's like, if you're taking Deathblade over, like, if you had to choose between Deathblade or Striker, both of them are going to juice damage, but one of them's give you a perma 9% back attack synergy buff on top of movement speed. Even me, I would take it, right? Like, even me, like, if I'm not on Striker and I'm on a different class, melee class, I would obviously take Blade. So for that reason, I'm going to put Blade ahead of Striker. Since you guys have conceded that to me, I'm going to go ahead and put Striker in the S tier and behind Deathblade. And I see people asking about Esoteric Flurry. My personal opinion on that is it's very good. I think currently in KR's endgame, actually I don't want to talk about that, KR. Currently in our current endgame, it's not as good. It doesn't do as much damage as Deathbolt Striker, although it's very good. I would personally, if you ask me where I would put Esoteric Flurry Striker, I would put it in the A tier. I would put Esoteric Flurry out of our current endgame at A tier. It's a fantastic class, very easy to play, very easy to get more damage off, and most importantly, it's a very forgiving class. If you miss, you could still pump. Versus Deathblow Striker, if you're missing, it's a much more punishing class. same way as Surge Deathblade, right? So with that said, okay, if you guys don't mind, we've got Wardancer next, and we've got 4 classes left. All right, so yeah, let's talk about Wardancer. Let's talk about Wardancer here. Who's got the experience with Wardancer? Who wants to lead us off with Wardancer?
I play Wardancer. This has really good group buffs.
It sure does.
I don't know. That's good synergy. I don't know.
It's not Striker. That's my opinion.
It's not Striker.
It's got good buffs.
What do you think, Averse? What are your thoughts on Wardancer?
So there's 2 Wardancers I know that play this game a lot. They have like 20 different build combinations, and I don't even know what the meta engravings are or anything for Wardancer, because they have literally, it seems like they can go any engraving in the game from what I've seen. But I do know their damage is quite insane. I don't think it compares to anything on the S tier though, so it would have to be an A or below.
I think it's an A tier class. Synergy is really good, and it does decent damage. It's good.
Yeah, I'm good with it being in the A tier as well. I think outside of the damage ceiling, I think it's a consistent class. I think consistency is also something that should be factored in, right? Like if there's any downside to Deathblade Surge, for example, it's consistency. That's always that's the issue with that class, right? So I think as well as Deathblow Striker, I triple spender that is. I think the consistency level with Wardancer alone and what it brings as far as like the utility and everything, I think it makes it a solid A tier class. But I'm not a Wardancer main, and I don't talk to fucking Zeals about it.
All of my friends call it Smooge tension, worse than tension. No, there are not many Wardancers that I know that are like, dude, Wardancer is so sick, man. I love this class. They all hate it, except the ones that wish they went Striker, and then they try to like, like it's like their way of coping. I swear to God, dude. They all call it cringe tension, worse tension, Smooge tension.
So where should we put it in the A tier?
A tier for sure. It's a great utility class and does get the damage. I think I don't know.
We got to put it somewhere.
I think it's maybe behind Artillerist. I mean, we have Soulfist up there. That looks so crazy to me. I think I'm just kidding, Datmodz. I think so.
Are you gonna Twitch con? We're gonna sell this in person, buddy. Okay, we're gonna.
Look at me. You're 5 times my size.
I want to take you out on the thumb war, buddy.
Your forearm is the size of my thigh. Please, I can't do anything. I'm a delicate flower.
Better start doing some finger exercise. It's going down.
I think above. I think like above Lance Master, maybe around that tier is okay with me.
Between Artillerist and Lance, what do you think? Datmodz, where do you have it?
It's really good at buffs. I don't know, high skill cap. The damage is I don't know. The damage is not super insane.
Yeah, it's just
put
a
it like
consistent
A
class.
tier, B tier ish. You know what I mean? I probably wouldn't put it that much higher than that right now.
You would put it behind Lance Master though. Or would you put it? So okay. Since you're thinking about it, I'm assuming that if we had to put it in front of Lance Master, you'd be okay with it because that's where Stoopzz had it. He had it between Lance Master and Artillerist. Would you be okay with that placing?
I don't know. It's like pretty equal, Lance Master.
Pretty equal. Okay. What do you think?
Maybe a little bit above Lance Master.
Yeah, I think somewhere behind Artillerist, in front of Lance Master, behind Lance Master, probably be the same thing.
Okay. See, I see Benji. Shout outs to Benji, by the way. I see Benji saying Esso pumps. Does it though in our region? Like I know it does in KR. Like quite a bit.
I say it does. Big damn. Yeah.
Does it in our region right now?
I think it does. Yeah.
Like as much as it does. Doesn't it separate itself even more in endgame KR?
I think that's coping though, man. I don't think it does as much damage as the S tier classes now. I don't think it does.
Yeah,
I'm
it doesn't do as
asking
much
because I'm not
damage as the
familiar
S
with
tiers.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think anywhere in A tier is a good tier to place. I don't think anyone's gonna be pissed. Wow, man, you put me behind Blaster. That's Smooge.
Okay, let's put it there then. Let's put it there.
I don't think anyone gives a shit really. Like you're an A tier. You're still a good class.
Okay, we're gonna place it between Lance Master and Artillerist. Let's move on to the warrior classes. Let's go, guys. Berserker, formerly a Berserker main, Mr. Stoopzz. Why don't you tell us where you think this class should be?
I think it's a B tier class.
B tier? Okay.
Doesn't have any unique synergy to it that I would put in the A tier. I think it's got a lot of long animations that a lot of people suck with dealing with. I think Mayhem is personally easier to play. I think people are coping when they say Mayhem is hard to play. I think it's the easier of the two builds for sure. I think just most people, it's the same thing as GS. They just get stuck in long animations and they think they're squishy, but I really don't think they're squishy. I think the mobility is Berserker's weakest. When you're in your downtime, it's hard to survive because you're really like stuck. I think it's a B tier class. I think if it had a better synergy, I'd put it in the A tier. I think most of the classes in the A tier, if you look at all of them, almost all of them have insane synergies. So I don't think it has that. And I don't think it has some raw, crazy damage like the S tier classes that would put it in the A tier alone because of its damage. So I'd put it in the B tier. I think it's a good tier.
A tier. Where do you have it, mods?
B tier, B tier, B tier.
B tier. Excuse me. Sorry, B tier. Where do you have it, mods?
Okay, let's go over the facts real quick. Okay, certain cards.
Listen, don't use your goddamn data.
Okay, we're gonna use data here. Okay, Berserker.
No, don't use your forum Andy data that you get from the coaching session.
You cannot deny math. Math is king. Okay, from pure statistics. Mayhem Berserker with Grudge, without damage reduction card set, squishiest class in game.
Guys, no coke. Put it on.
It does have 100% synergy uptime, which is good.
So
the damage is not impressive after the nerfs, right? It's not a damage god compared to like Sork or Scrapper or Deathblade or anything else like that. It has the highest potential of being dead in the game. And it doesn't do the best damage, okay? BT Berserker is cool, right? I want to put it C tier. Just because of that right there. It's fun to play. But just purely from statistics, I think I'm going to go C tier, just purely from numbers.
I swear, dude, if you play a GS or a Deadeye and you think Grudge Berserker is squishier than that, dude, you can eat shit, dude. I was in a group. We were in a vaulting group. No.
Okay.
Hold on. We were in a vaulting group and I was watching this random pug Berserker. He ate every single mechanic, dude, and we were laughing. People say this class is squishy. I don't know where that hocus pocus math is from. I don't know whose calculator was working that day, but that is a bunch of fucking nonsense. It's some random cope that somebody made up on some Korean invent post that all the Mayhem Berserkers tell themselves so that they feel good about them dying. It is not squishy. Go log on a Reaper for 2 seconds. That is some copium and a half. We can put it in the C tier. If you think it's C tier, that's on me. I think B tier or C tier is fine. I don't think it's a badge class.
Is the Zerker that you're running on, like, what is he just like? Is he like max gear score or some shit? Like, they're not that tanky.
I did all my raids on mid eye level. On mid eye level on my Zerker, and it was, dude. I ate everything. I looked at them. I ate everything, and I still didn't die. And then meanwhile, Dacia's on his Reaper. Just Abril poops the other direction. He was instantly dead over and over and over the entire fight. I logged on my GS for one day. There's a clip, ! Gunslinger in my chat, and it's me saying, "Remind me to never play this class again," because I kept dying. It's so squishy compared to Berserker. You can eat shit. It's not as bad as people say it is. It's crazy. I don't know where they get this from.
Oh, Averse.
But I'll find tears.
Averse, what are you thinking, brother?
Dude, G's gotta go potty. I think. Hold on 1 second. She's freaking out.
I want to say it is what people in the chat are saying. The card set is so important on Berserker. When you have the I don't know what it is. It's the Madnik card set and the tier Caspiel and then the Brad one.
Yep.
But when you have that card set, that class isn't squishy at all.
Yeah, it's not. For sure. But you're losing a lot of damage by going that card set, though, right? So.
I don't know. I was told they didn't need the crit card set, but if you do have
Light of Salvation is what I'm talking about. Yeah, which is I'm thinking our end game. It's not Light of Salvation 30 quite yet. I'm sure there's people that have it, but like not that many, right?
There are.
There definitely are. But like I'm thinking end game like Light of Salvation 18 right now, where you're getting that extra damage boost. But yeah, where would you put it, Averse? Where would you put it, dude?
I used to think this class was insane, but maybe not so much anymore. I kind of agree with B tier. I do want to say though, the Berserker technique Broken Bone build for Helton is absolutely broken.
Ooh.
But that's probably like something completely niche and different, and they can't run that in normal content. So
right, but that's interesting that you say that. What while we're on the subject of Helton, why don't you tell it like what's the opinions of Mayhem Berserker in Helton?
It's horrible.
Horrible. Don't
Yeah.
even think about it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if card sets work in Helton, but I do remember
It does
running with a
not.
Grudge Mayhem Berserker, and they actually were like mechanics that would one-shot Gunslinger. They also one-shot Berserker.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. In
Yeah.
Helton, you get one shot for sure, man.
hmm
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, but Berserker technique. So if you see a Berserker technique Zerker roll up, we're talking for Helton, we're talking like S tier if they're running the Broken Bone spec.
Broken Bone build is so disgusting. It was. I'm pretty sure it's the highest damage I've seen on an MVP screen, like percentage-wise.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the
but
same for all burst classes or just especially Berserker technique?
I think there's a few classes that can go Broken Bone builds. Like one of them's Wardancer. I know Scrapper can also go Broken Bone build on Taijutsu, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that Berserker Techniques is probably one of the better ones. I don't know if it's the best, but definitely one of the better ones. Yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. We might have to do a Heltan tier list, bro. Maybe for a different video. I think we should.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Okay, so one thing before moving on from Zerker, I actually wanted to ask you guys. I wish Stoopzz was here since he played it. I was gonna ask you guys about Berserker technique Zerker in our region, because we are obviously talking about Mayhem Zerker and and all that, but like I feel like Zerker technique Berserker in our region is actually ninja good. Like I see, like I've got a couple of friends that are running like Awakening, which obviously isn't ideal for like max DPS parsing and whatnot, but in a real world situation, I have a few friends, and maybe this wouldn't be considered endgame, but close to endgame, NA/EU. Like I've seen some Awakening, is it Awakening 1? I can't remember what they're running, Awakening 1 or 3, Berserker techniques, and they actually pump. Again, this is like right before endgame. But I don't know. Maybe if you guys in chat know Berserker technique endgame, like when they're running 5/3s in our version, I don't know how good it is, but maybe you guys could tell us in chat. But I feel like they're ninja good in our region right now, and obviously they've been buffed in Korea. But have you guys seen any Berserker technique Zerkers that has impressed you guys?
Yeah, I would rather play with the BT Zerker than a Mayhem Berserker any day of the week.
Yeah.
I would put BT way over Mayhem currently after the nerfs that they made it. Before, Mayhem arguably was the best class in the game, right? It was so insane.
It was like a god.
Launch, right?
It was
then they did that nerf patch to effective health and damage a little bit, and yeah, it needs a little love, I think. I think it'll give Mayhem a little love again soon.
Okay.
I wonder what the percentage to like Mayhem versus Berserker technique is. I don't actually think I've seen one Zerker run Berserker technique.
Really?
In
PvE.
Yeah.
It's
my dog. I
it's not a
apologize.
lot to a little bit. Yeah. No, it's all
My
good.
dog was freaking out and having to go take a number 2. I apologize.
No, it's all good. I think the ones that are running it though, I think the majority of the ones that are running it before they announced the buffs in KR were running it because it's way more budget. It was extremely budget, especially before. And then people were like, yo, this actually kind of pumps. I was just talking to them before closing out
BT?
Zerker Stoopzz. Yes, BT. I think
Big
it's
buff
ninja
coming out.
good. Yeah, but like even before this buff that's coming out, I feel like it's ninja good in our region. I feel
What
like
makes
it's a
it
little
good
bit
is
of
you
a
can play
sleeper.
sharp blunt and get more value now. Because before you were getting crit,
Yeah, with the
crit
buffs.
damage. Now it's just flat damage.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, but if we are talking about Mayhem, which is the meta build, where are we gonna put it in the BT? Are we gonna put it behind Arcana or what? Where did we say we're gonna put this thing?
I think I'd rather
C tier.
C tier? Are we? That's fine. We can put it in C tier. What do you think, Averse? Are we putting the first? Are we putting him down in C tier?
I don't know
think
of
it's a
any
C-tier
class in the
class.
game.
I don't think any
Actually
class
is
in the game
C-tier.
is a tier class. I don't think so.
But maybe the worst class in the game. I can't think of. Maybe I don't know.
If Zerker is the worst class in the game, it should be in C tier because, like, you know what I mean?
I don't
Because
think
we are
it's
trying
the
to
worst
separate.
class in the game.
Okay.
What do you think is
I don't-
worse? That's on
What
the.
do you-
Is there anything
Sure.
worse on the tier list?
Great question. What do you honestly think is worse?
Probably Destroyer. Destroyer's pretty smooge, man. Even after
Really?
the attack speed buff and stuff. I love playing Destroyer, but man, it's punishing with your
Okay, well that's
ramp up attacks and everything else.
okay. Well, that's next. We'll talk about that, but we got to place this. Are we gonna place it C or are we gonna place it in the B behind Arcana? We got to make a choice. Averse, what's your vote?
I want to hear what Stoopzz thinks is
Stoopzz?
worse than Berserker.
What do you think is worse than Berserker? Stoopzz?
I just don't think it's bad enough to be in the C tier.
What do you? That's not the question, brother. That's not the question.
I personally think a really good Berserker, a really good one, which we don't have over here, I think has a higher skill floor, damage floor than Shadowhunter. Personally,
Really?
Yeah, I personally do.
So,
I just think Shadowhunter doesn't have the high. I think Berserker has a higher damage floor than Scouter too.
All right, Stoopzz, you and I have talked.
That's what I think.
You and I have talked about content creating, and this guy, he's a mentor to me with content creating, and he says all the time, guys, he says all the time, bro, use me for the sake of content. Just use me. You just got to. So I'm gonna.
I'm not putting in the
I'm gonna use you right now, motherfucker. I'm using you right now. What is the worst class in the game, Stoopzz? Which is the worst class in the game for our region?
Way to phrase it, though.
That's the way I'm gonna phrase it, because that's gonna get the clicks. What is it, motherfucker? Name it. Name it. What is the class?
Are we rating Scouter?
No, not including Scouter, because we don't have it yet. What is it?
I don't know anything about Arcana. It could be Arcana.
Let's exclude Arcana, because I can tell you it's not.
I don't want this, dude. I don't want this shit.
You gotta say it.
I don't want this shit.
You gotta say it.
I don't want this shit. Shadowhunter.
Shadowhunter is the worst class in the game.
No,
Shadowhunter is the worst class in the game.
What did Shadowhunter do to hurt you, Stoopzz? What? Shadowhunter's the worst class?
Oh no! That we're gonna.
Dude, I genuinely don't have an answer. Like, I've never that class. When I say worst class in the game, I mean the class sucks. I don't think it sucks, but I think the ceiling on the class is just that's what it is. You know what I mean? I don't think it has this crazy ceiling. You know what I mean? So. Oh no, man! I'm just using for the clicks. Whatever, dude.
I'm using you for the clicks.
I don't hate you. He made me choose. He made me pick.
Guys, to be fair, he's not saying any class is bad. He's just if you had to choose in relation to each other. Okay, there's this kind of.
I don't know. You know, I really don't know. I don't know if Arcana to put it there.
I'm opening the YouTube video with that, by the way. Okay, all right. So, C tier or B? Are we gonna put it? Is that where we're putting it? Behind Arcana?
Wait, Averse, where do you think it goes? You didn't say.
Yeah, you didn't say. Where do you think it goes? You said
put it in C tier. Put it in C tier. So Averse says Berserker's the worst class in the game.
No. I don't think any class is C tier, to be honest. But if you're gonna, I do think it's the worst class in the game. So if you want to put it in C tier because of that, then.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna put it at B just because Averse and Stoopzz both don't think it deserves to be in C. Datmodz says it does deserve to be in C, but since it's a 2-1 again, Datmodz loses again. So we're gonna go ahead and put it at the end of B tier. That's it, guys. So we've got Destroyer.
Bad for Berserkers, by the way, dude. It's this other thing that gets because of this bad class rap. It gets dumpstered on so hard. It's such a smudge. It's such a And then they play into it. If
you're putting together a raid, would you bring a Berserker over a?
I literally don't care. I don't want a Shadowhunter in my raid group. Do you know I'm making my you know I'm making my friend for Clown. He's never done it before, and I'm having my friend Coxon from Rush who plays Deadeye, and I'm making him not bring a Shadowhunter, and I want him to play Sharpshooter, because if he's gonna play a 60% synergy class, I'd rather have a ranged.
See, here the thing about that, Stoopzz, is I agree with you, because it's if I'm running pugs and I'm taking people that are 4/3 engravings and stuff like that, Shadowhunter is one of the first classes that I'll accept, because okay, they have gems, we're good, versus if I'm running it on a cutting edge group or a end game where we're really trying to push whatever, clear it really fast, then that would definitely be one of the last classes.
No, you guys want to chat Stoopzz just hates Shadowhunter, such a biased take. This is your fault, Kanon. This is your fault. I don't hate them.
You said I could use you. You said I could use you for content, and I just did.
Rosie, you're on the goddamn cross. I'm on the goddamn cross right now. I'm fucking dying for the sins of the Shadowhunters. I don't want this shit, man.
All right, listen.
I'm getting roasted for the sins of Berserkers.
When I go to California, drinks are on me, brother. All right, I'll drinks are on me.
I want one gin and tonic.
All right, you got it. All right, let's move on to Destroyer. Well, let's move on to Destroyer. Datmodz, you play Destroyer. I see you playing one all the time, and you had a hot take on it. You think Destroyer is worse than Berserker? Is that true? What are your thoughts on Destroyer?
I really like Destroyer. It had like one of the funnest chaos builds in the game. It had like super armor, damage reduction. You bypass a lot of mechanics, high damage, like high synergy uptime, a lot of cool flips. But man, you could get punished if you're not good with your timing. If you're good with your timing, it pumps, right? But you know, you're being entry class if you're playing like Rage Hammer instead of Gravity Hammer. It's a fun class. It's like one of the funnest classes to play. It's like one of the hardest classes to deal damage with, though, be all your timing stuff. Yeah. I'd probably put it definitely in B tier. It wouldn't be S tier or A tier for me. It would be B tier.
B tier. You put it in the B tier. Where in the B tier would you put it at? Behind Berserker.
Because they recently buffed around, they sped up a lot of the animation and stuff, but it still feels slow in a lot of scenarios. And like you're super slow with your movement. It all depends on how you do your build, right? Some people do crit with swiftness. Some people do like the spec build. There's so many different things that you could do. Yeah, it just feels really bad when you miss perfect swing.
Yeah.
But it is nice, right? Because you just use your taunt, right? And you get huge damage reduction. You face tank so much stuff. And you got so many super armors, bypass mechanics with your class identity. I don't know, man. I'll probably just put a B tier. I'll put above Berserker right now, though.
Wow. Okay. All right. I usually don't call out the subs until after the donations until after the raid, but thank you, Al. I appreciate the 10 gifted. Averse, where would you place Destroyer, brother?
I don't know much about Destroyer's damage, but I do know they are god tier at stealing MVP screen with the amount of stagger they do. So
true.
Maybe I'd have to just based off that alone, I'd have to make it higher than Berserker. But I actually have no idea how much damage they do. I don't think I've seen many Destroyers. Like, they always get the MVP, but it'll show stagger and then like a low amount of damage. So not sure.
Yeah, I think when we are talking, I see this. I see the question in chat. Are we considering stagger? I think we are, but we're considering stagger as like utility, right? Like, obviously, we'd rather like damage is going to outweigh stagger as far as like my perspective of this tier list. Stagger is definitely something that we could consider. For example, to add insult to injury, Scrapper has great stagger, right? So on top of all the damage it does, but yeah, and we're gonna get to Warlord here in a second, or Gunlancer here in a second. But okay, so it sounds like B tier for Destroyer. I don't have that much experience. I played Destroyer a little bit in RU, but not nearly to the point of like, you know, knowing what I'm talking about on that class. I know how it works. I know it's got pretty big burst. It's got really big burst when you gear it properly, but I don't know how they are in our current endgame. Stoopzz, what are your thoughts on Destroyer, brother?
I think it's similar to Berserker. I think we got a lot of time, like, you know, Datmodz be saying over there, saying this shit like, if you miss the perfect swing, it's Smoj, Berserker, they always die all the time. We're talking about the best of the best, right?
Yeah,
so we're talking about how much stealing you could do, right? What are the best of the best? What is the best of the best demonic gonna do, right? So that's why I put the Berserker next to it. I think it's near Berserker. I think it's a B tier class. Got amazing stagger. The taunt's really nice. And it does really good damage. All I can compare it to is obviously I know Benji was, but even Benji swapped off it. I think it's a B tier. I don't put it in the A tier, right? And I don't think it has some crazy synergy that it provides. It's got a taunt, got good stagger. Being in the B tier is not bad. It's not bad, right? It's not bad. You need those 6% synergies. They're just rare to come by. So, or the other ones are just rare to come by. And there's limited spots in your group. So you can only bring one. So which one are you going to bring, right?
Bro, you know what you sound like? You sound like you're talking to like a kid that just got destroyed in a baseball game. You're like, bro, you just being out here, you've won. You're a winner for just being out here. That's what it's like.
No, but it's true, right?
It's
true. Like it's just what the ceiling is for your class, I think matters. You're talking about what's the best of the best and the best players playing it. I think it's in the B tier.
Okay. I don't have an opinion on this, so where should we put it on the B tier here?
In front of Berserker for me.
In front of Berserker for
I'll
you?
put it in front of Berserker, yeah.
Okay, all right, let's do that. So, I'm thinking you don't have an issue with that, Zip, because you're probably not Zip, excuse me, Stoopzz. I'm thinking you're thinking everything goes in front of Berserker, right? Except for Shadowhunter, so we'll place it there. We'll place it there.
Benji, don't be mad, man. They should have put my class in D tier. They should have put Sharpshooter in D tier, and then they also should have put my Sharpshooter in C tier.
Mm,
All right, so don't feel bad, Benji. It's all right.
all right.
Me and you, all of my, don't worry, Benji. Literally, all of my classes are in the same tier with you. We're chilling.
All right.
We're
Guys,
all in B tier together.
we are on our last class. We are going to go over Scouter speculatively. If that's a word, that should be a word, right? Gunlancer is our last class. This is an interesting one, guys, because Gunlancer is a class that doesn't really pump. Definitely doesn't pump anywhere near to the level of, like, let's say a Striker, Scrapper, these classes, right? But they do damage, and they bring so much more that we need to obviously value. And I know for a fact, like, things like, and we're not really, this isn't a Helltan thing, but they are literally S tier 100% for like a Helltan. Like, you have to have one for Helltan, right? Am I right in assuming that, Averse?
You have
Yes.
to. It's stagger.
Yes.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a stagger bot. Yeah.
So, I mean, I definitely want to actually do a Helltan tier list with.
It doesn't
with
stay
user
that
boys,
way
but-
forever, though.
Yeah, yeah. But
And some of the other home mode races, they're terrible. Like Clown, they're terrible. From what I've been told too.
yeah, right. So we're just our version with Helltan, right? So, but if we are talking about non-normalized content at our end game, Stoopzz, why don't you tell us what you think about the Gunlancer here? Where do you place this thing?
I think some people would say it's in the S tier. I think it's like the top of the A tier. I think it's really, really good in terms of like, I mean, some of them do a lot of damage. Like, it's not like you do zero damage.
Mhm.
If you're stacked, you do a considerable amount of damage, and the stagger is really good. It's got one of the best synergies, similar to Blade, right? Where it's like, and it stacks with Blade. So again, with this entropy-based like meta that we have, a lot of people going towards, it's super strong there. The taunt's nice, supportive utility. I think it's an A tier class. I think like you could easily put an S. I just would put it in the high A. I think it's a really good class to like. I always want one in my group. It's so fantastic to
Right.
have.
Averse, let me ask you something, brother. You play Gunslinger. If you were to choose the ideal comp for you, cherry pick it, and this is like, let's say there's a tournament of Lost Ark, and you get to choose your comp on Gunslinger. What would that comp be for you?
Oh, for PvP?
No, for PvE.
Oh, PvE.
Yeah.
Okay. A 4-man party?
Yep, non-normalized, not non-equalized.
Sort Gunslinger Paladin. Sort Gunslinger Paladin. Blade? Sort Gunslinger Paladin Blade.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me personally, as a back attacking melee class, Gunlancer will always be the class that I want in my group, right? For sure. So like, I think for me personally, if I was going to place it, I would place it at the very top of A. And the only reason why is because obviously I'm valuing everything that it brings, the stagger, just the shields, everything, right? But it's not a class that is always going to be at the top of the priority list for classes like Gunslinger, like for example for you, right? It is for back attacking melee classes, but it is certainly not the class I'm looking for. You know what I mean? So, I mean, you could kind of say the same thing about Blade because of the synergy that they bring, but they all obviously bring other things too. I mean, you also play Gunslinger, and you chose Blade as one of the class that you'd bring, right? I would be okay with putting this in the S tier, but if I had to choose a spot, I would put it at the very top of A tier. Where would you put it, Averse?
I would definitely put it in S tier. What you said is a really good point. It definitely does, like for Hitmaster classes and classes that can't use, I believe it has a back attack synergy.
Yes.
It doesn't do as much for them. If
Right.
anything, like redirecting the taunt to make the back attack easier to hit does nothing for like Gunslinger, Arcana, or Demonic.
Right.
But in most of the meta classes, like in this game, like Scrapper, Deathblade, or even Sork, just holding them in one spot so Doomsday can hit and stuff like that, Gunlancer has like infinite value. And its identity
true.
skill, it can jump
Good
down,
point.
shield you. It's like an 80% shield. Its ult, if you're taking the sword one, it gives a crit buff. Has counter, which is really strong. It has crazy stagger. I don't know, it just provides so much utility, and on top of that, it still does pretty good damage. It will never compare to the other S tiers, but it still does pretty good damage. So I don't think you could put it any lower than S, even though it's kind of niche for the party at once.
Right. Okay. So if you had to choose top of A or S, you said S, right? You'd put it at the back
Yeah,
of S, or
S.
would you put it in front of any of the S tier classes that we have?
No,
right
because
now?
it's so niche. It's too niche.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Mods, where do you have it, brother?
Oh man, if I had one class that I would bring to every party, it would be Gunlancer. It's just so good utility wise. The damage buffs, shields, cleanse, stagger, destruction, everything on it. It's like the one class I would want to bring to every party. In terms of damage, really consistent damage, nothing flashy, nothing super insane, but be your defensive capability in every fight we have now. You're always DPSing. There's not a single time where you're pretty much not DPSing. Your ultimate CC immunity, damage reduction, you can bypass a lot of mechanics there, right? Really good for counters. If you're playing blue build, you just run 2 counters, you counter everything. I would honestly put it S tier. It's 100% S2 character, and I would want it in every group that I play.
Would you put it behind Striker or in front of any of the S tier classes?
Oh no, it's way better than your main. I would put it above Striker, yeah.
Where would you place it exactly? Between Blade and Striker, or would you place it in front of Sork, or where would you place it?
I would put it in front of Sork. Boom. Right behind the supports.
Bam!
Yep.
Putting it right behind the supports. Best class in the game. Datmodz has just stated, outside of supports, Gunlancer is the best class in the fucking game. I've got so much good content from this fucking shit.
The only thing that tilts me about Gunlancers though is when you're DPSing your back attack character and they come to the back attack people and taunt towards you.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that really tilts me.
Really
You're like,
I
you have
hate
one
that.
job. You have one job. All you got to do is taunt it in the right direction. Why are you taunting it and make me go around the boss right now?
You know what they say? You know what they say to
If they
that?
aren't good at taunting, they're C tier. If they're not good at taunting, C tier. If they're good at taunting, S tier.
You know what they fucking say to that shit when I ask them that? For meter. That's what they fucking say, you fucking asshole. Oh, Stoopzz, what do you think, brother? Yo, Averse, yeah.
Oh, I wanted to add what he said. If there's one class I could pick that I would be very picky about in Party Finder, it's Gunlancers. Man, Gate 3 Vicus, I did a Vicus last 2 hours, and I literally couldn't complete it because of Pug Gunlancers. And I ended up just not picking the class anymore, and we cleared it because they just they're so used to tanking everything that with the way the meter mechanic works in Vicus, they just get metered and they start killing you.
Yeah, true.
It's so annoying. It's actually crazy.
On the other end, though, good Gunlancers you're like, holy shit, man. If there's anyone that I've ever coomed over, it was a fucking god tier. Shout outs to a guy named Zip, by the way. There's a guy named Zip in the Helltank community. Really, probably the best Gunlancer I've seen so far.
Zippy.
Yeah, shout outs to him.
God, Zippy.
He's so good. Like on that Gunlancer, I was like, bro. About to spread my legs for you right now. Stoopzz, where are you at, brother? Where would you place this on the?
I placed it. I think.
That's right. You said at the beginning of A, right?
I think the beginning of A. I think S is totally fine. I just think that when I look at those other classes, Sork, Scrapper, Deathblade, Striker, I think they're legitimately broken. And I think Warlord is one of the best. I just don't think it's broken, so I have a hard time putting it in S. But regardless, I think you could easily put it there. Who gives a shit? Everyone agrees that it's a really great class. I'd always like to play with one of them, and it's an amazing synergy. So, yeah, I think it's either way. You're a Chad Lancer if you play one. Everyone loves to play with you. I don't think it matters too much if you put it in S or A.
Okay, so we got to place it somewhere. It looks like Stoopzz in Averse wants it at the end of behind Striker in the S tier if we were going to place it there. Datmodz thinks it's the best class in the game. So we're going to go ahead and just place this behind Striker with an asterisk to it and let you guys know that Datmodz thinks it's the best class in the game.
We can just put it above Striker. If we put it above Striker, that would be a little bit better.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's put it this way. Every Striker wants a Gunlancer in their party for their buffs, right?
That's
When
true.
you're playing a Striker, do you want a Gunlancer in your party? It enabled your damage?
Absolutely.
You got your size king. You only care about how big your crit is. You guys don't care about anything else.
Well, I mean, of course you don't. I mean, of course.
You guys just want to do the most damage. That's all it is.
Of course, you don't care. You fucking be playing Pinnacle Lancemaster. You don't give a shit about how big your crits are. I mean, you're used to not doing big crits. Of course, I want the goddamn Gunlancer in my group. I mean, I'm trying to hit big.
But I beat you in MVP every time. So
Well, listen, to be fair, your ass put me in like you put my class in the C tier. You put my Berserker in the C tier. I better do the worst amount of damage. My class is the worst class in the game according to you.
Oh shit, man! God damn!
I might bring my goddamn scrapper to our fucking. I might bring my goddamn scrapper to our clown group. All I have to do is fart in the other direction. I'll do more damage than you. If you lose to my level 56 scrapper,
what did I just unleash?
Yo,
if I bring my goddamn scrapper, I'm gonna fart in the other direction, do more damage than you.
Hold on. Hold on. All right, so you guys are doing clown together?
Yeah, we are. Launch day, baby.
All right, so if there's any event that I'm going to plug here, this is what it's going to be, guys. I'm very curious as to see who MVP Cruel Fighters the clown raid. Actually, that's not fair. Mods hasn't done it. Mods, have you done clown?
No, I've never done it. Yeah, I think Stoopzz will probably out MVP.
Yeah, if you
No.
Yeah,
what do you mean? No, he doesn't know the fight.
I have to be telling the fight. Okay, when we did Vicus, I had to fucking I had to talk about like dodge this and move this. Yeah. It makes it harder. Like I have to focus so much on like saying what we're doing. I had to micromanage Chaz for 12 hours. That's hard to do. You know what I mean? I'm serious. We were in there for 12 hours. That was hard. So
right. Well, we're gonna see.
We'll do good.
Well, we'll see. We'll see who wins. All right, so that was it, guys.
Mods is a pumper. He don't let him fool you. He's a pumper.
Mods is. I've raided with Mods. He fucking juices. He's a really good player, which is why I invited him to the podcast. So or the interview.
Can we do Scouter real quick?
Yeah,
it's
so
not
that's
out yet, but yeah.
I wanted to do that. So this is, guys, this right here is the official tier list that we have put together. It is a compromised tier list between the four of us content creators here on NA. Here it is. I'm just going to pull it up here really quick so you guys can see it a little bit bigger. That is our list, okay? And we're going to round this out by speculating where we believe where we believe Scouter is going to be. But this is it. This is our list. We got nothing in the C and D tiers. We got the Bard and Paladin equally at S tier. We had to put one behind the other, so they're equal. And then we've got Sorceress as the best class in the game, followed by Scrapper, Deathblade, Striker, Gunlancer, all considered to be the best classes, the top of the cream of the crop. And then we've got Soulfist, Deadeye, Gunslinger, RT, Wardancer, Lancemaster, in that order at A tier, Soulfist being the best class in the A tier, and then Sharpshooter being the best class in the B tier, followed by Shadowhunter, Arcana, Destroyer, and none other than Berserker being the worst class in the game as per this tier list. I'm wording this clearly to get more clicks here. Yeah, but they're pretty close, to be fair. That really is a poor choice of words. Everyone is pretty good. Berserker is not in the C tier for a reason. And the last point that I want to mention is that Stoopzz says that his personal worst class in the game is Shadowhunter. I want to mention that one more time there. So guys, that is it. Let's speculate on Scouter. Let's speculate on Scouter. Where do we have Scouter here, guys? First of all, any of you guys play Scouter in the other regions?
No.
Okay.
I just watch ATK play it all the time.
You can ask Kanama. I mean, the class is probably very similar to Shadowhunter, right? You're just not gonna have. However, AT Scouter is really interesting. I don't know. AT Scouter is really
fun, man.
I think everyone wants to play Transformation. I don't think you're going to see too many ATs. Yeah, like AT will be budget,
cheap engraving, budget build, has the ability to spec into tripods, probably gonna have a higher damage ceiling, and it'll be cheaper.
AT books already going up in NA, and they're not even out yet. Okay, so where would we place it, guys? Where would we place it?
I kind of just view Scouter as the ranged version of Shadowhunter. It's almost the same thing, not super tripod reliant, 2 gems, range. It's basically like range Shadowhunter, right?
Yeah, well, the transformation kit is very similar to Shadowhunter. In fact, outside, yeah, just it's more of like a mid to melee class with it's got a little bit more range than Shadowhunter and the transformation kit, but like not much. It's got like I think like one skill that's a beam that's kind of like a mid-range beam, And then
There's
another
somebody,
one, yeah.
there's somebody in chat saying check Kenema's MVP list. If you ask Kenema right now, 100%, he'll tell you that it's about the player, not the class. But if you compare it to the absolute damage ceiling of every single class, he'll tell you it doesn't do as much. That's how it works.
It definitely
like
does
if you're a really good scouter and you're in a group of people that aren't as comfortable as you are in scouter, you're gonna do better. But if you're in a group filled with juiced, like actual best of the best sorks and blades and striker, he's not gonna be able to keep up with those classes.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
just how that's how the game works. Like it wouldn't make sense for a class like scouter to do S tier damage.
Yeah.
Right? It wouldn't make sense.
I think the way it's designed as well, the whole tripod system with 2 gems, if we are talking about transformation scouter, again, just the way scaling works in this game, I don't think it's possible for it to do that much damage. So yeah, and also it takes a big hit on its total DPS output. I feel like it takes more I feel like it takes a bigger hit on its DPS output from taking damage more so than any other class. I could be wrong on that, but like it obviously loses DPS by taking damage. But I just feel like it's even more punishing in that regard as well. But I mean, if we are talking about the experts of each class, right? I don't know how significant that would be. Personally, if we are talking about transformation scouter, I think it's an S tier class if we are talking about like, hey, pugs, you know, not really end game. I want to clear this content. Bring me that scouter. You know what I mean? But if we were talking about the best of the best end game, everyone's juiced out. I don't know. I feel like it would be, personally, I feel like it would be like a low A tier, maybe a high B tier class. But this is also coming from someone that's a bit ignorant and naive to the class at end game. So there's my take. Averse, where would you put it if you had to put it somewhere?
Wait, how are you going to put Scouter S tier and put Shadowhunter B tier? That makes no sense at all.
Say that again. Sorry.
How are you going to put Shadowhunter B tier and put Scouter S tier? That makes no sense.
No. I didn't put it S tier. I'm saying so. I think Shadowhunter. I think both Shadowhunter and Scouter are both S tier classes for non-endgame NA pug life, right? Like that's what I'm saying. Like for our tier list, it's definitely not S tier for sure.
Fair to say.
Yeah, I think it's definitely not.
It's fair to say. It's not like you definitely get MVP on those classes and random content for sure.
Yeah. Also, like if I'm trying to take someone that I know is going to do a reasonable amount of damage, that isn't like endgame four engravings or something legendary, whatever. It's like, okay, this Shadowhunter, he's at least got these gems. I know he's going to be at least doing decent damage on top of the fact that the class is already very easy to play, right? Versus like if I'm taking an Arcana, even though I believe Arcana is much higher than a Shadowhunter personally, it's like, I don't know if that Arcana is actually going to be doing damage or not, right? But
you get grabbed. You get grabbed, the Scouter, it takes you out of your gauge form.
I did not actually know that. No.
You can just get yoinked out of your gauge form.
Don't get grabbed, forehead. But no, I actually didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's interesting. So where would you put it? Where would you put it, Stoopzz? I mean, this is pure speculation. None of us are Scouter mains here, guys. So this is
the B tier. It's a good class.
Yeah. Where in the B tier would you put it?
With Shadowhunter.
Directly behind Shadowhunter.
Okay.
Directly behind Shadowhunter.
All right. Let's put Scouter behind Shadowhunter here. And that's where we will place it. And we are talking about transformation. I feel like the ceiling for AT would be higher though. But yeah. I don't know. I'm not super familiar with it, but I feel like if transformation is going to be B tier right before Shadowhunter,
you want to find out someone with a lot of experience on Scouter? You can go check out Kanema. He also has a guide on YouTube as well right now for Scouter. So if you're watching this and you want to play Scouter, he'll tell you firsthand that you could get tons of MVPs on Scouter, and he's got a really amazing guide. So definitely go check out Kanema XIV, baby. Definitely.
Good plug. Good plug.
They call him Gamer God.
Free to play Mr. Scouter. That's it. Like if you're looking for free to play content and Scouter content, he's the guy. He's definitely the guy. Yeah, guys. So I mean, I see someone asking for Reaper and Summoner. It's not in our region, so I really don't want to really talk about it. Because again, it's just speculation, right? The only reason why I threw Scouter in there is because we're literally getting it in like a week or so. So let's just keep it here. Let's just keep the tier list here for now. I know Stoopzz has to go. Any closing thoughts, guys? This is the tier list. Any closing thoughts?
Okay, I got my closing thoughts. Okay, anyone watching this video, don't be upset of where we think your class is. Every class is viable. Every class is able to do all the content in the game. Whenever I invite people to groups, I don't gatekeep anybody. Just play what you want. And if you're a good player, you'll outperform the bad players, and you'll be getting MVP every time. Right? Don't worry about where your class rank can be. It's the difference between the best class and the worst class is not. It's very marginal. It's not super big.
Man, dude, I just realized,
and they might buff you eventually, right?
Yes.
Our Korean Overlord might buff you, so your B tier class might be super S tier in 3 months' time, right? You never know.
Just be like Datmodz. You'll get MVP every time. I forgot you got Light of Salvation fucking 18, man. How the hell am I supposed to beat you with that thing? That thing's broken as hell. Just get the card set.
Bro.
Just get the card set and you'll MVP every goddamn. I don't know how you have that.
You can't be making excuses already, man.
Yeah.
This is not
I'm just
good.
saying, I forgot this guy has it. That guy should be pooping the other direction.
You want to how I got the cards? I ran 111 dungeons every week without paying a single dollar from Mary Shop. That's how I did it.
I bought more legendary packs than you, Bucko. I bought more legendary packs than you. It's RNG. I bought more. I had more chances with my own goddamn money. Datmodz is right, by the way. Datmodz is right. If you don't listen to the tier list, it's just for fun purposes and for Kanon's clickbait for the views on his YouTube channel. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it is really true. Like if you're just playing the class at your at the highest like ceiling, at the best that you can with its full potential, you're gonna do better than 99% of other players that aren't doing that at their own class, right? A lot of these are assuming that you play the class perfect, right? If you're a Shadowhunter and there's a Surge Deathblade and he's ripping and missing all of his surges, you're going to MVP a Shadowhunter easily, right? So it's just assuming you're playing the class at its full potential, which a lot of people aren't, you know? Don't take the list too seriously. You can play totally whatever you want. And I'm saying that, like, I mean that, right? And also, if you don't like tier lists, then stop excluding people for playing classes in the first place, right? Don't do that. A lot of you guys are excluding people who say this class is a Z DPS. What's different than you saying a class is Z DPS versus you putting it in D tier on a tier list? It's literally the same thing. You're just verbalizing the class sucks. It's the same thing as ranking it. Okay? If you're going to go one route, stick with it, right? Don't flip-flop all over the place, right? I don't think it's healthy for the community either way. But, yeah. Overall, I think it's a really good tier list.
All right. Averse. Any closing thoughts here, brother?
Yeah, I want to emphasize how hard it is to make a tier list for this game specifically. Because, like, for example, just use Destroyer as an example. They're God tier GVG. They're God tier PvE. Or, sorry, PvP. They're okay PvE. And then in equalized content, they might be different. And then for Hitmaster classes, they're better in long fights. They're better in prog groups. They're worse when more people know the fight. Like in clown back attack classes get worse. You'd have to make a tier list for like every individualized piece of content.
That's a great point, because if we were talking about guys, if we were talking about like, hey, this tier list is based off of Argos, I could tell you right now, this tier list is completely different, right? So
one last thing
that's a great point. Go for it, Stoopzz.
I just like to add in, I've never played an MMO where, for me at least, I didn't really play much Final Fantasy, where there's like, I really couldn't put a class in C tier. I think there are so many good classes. You can't pick a bad class in this game. You legitimately can't. When I used to play WoW, there were classes that were just dead, like specs that were so bad, they were dead. I really feel like there is no C tier class. So you really can't go wrong either, man. You really should play what you like, because you'll probably end up playing better on that in general than if you were to force a class that you don't enjoy.
Absolutely. So I think the balancing overall is just done really well in this class. Outside of the numbers being pretty close to each other despite this tier list, just like what Averse said, like certain classes, certain specs match up better for certain fights, and there are a lot of different fights and scenarios in this game. What I can say is this: Berserker right now is technically the worst class according to our tier list. But
according to Datmodz. According to
Datmodz, right?
He wanted. Remember, he wanted the. According to Datmodz,
we have to say our tier. We gotta say our tier list here,
okay,
because it's our tier list. Yeah.
Okay.
Because
so
there's some.
Not the worst
because it's not right, because it's obviously Datmodz had some stuff in here that he doesn't agree with either. But this is the tier list based off of our 4 opinions, and even according to this tier list, if you're looking at Berserker at the bottom of this, I can tell you this right now: Berserker's MVP all the time. Skill has a lot to do with it. The comps have a lot to do with it. The fights have a lot to do with it. The player behind the keyboard, everything. All these things are really important, right?
So according to this tier list, Sharpshooter is better than Shadowhunter, Scouter, Arcana, Destroyer, and Zerker, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
Guys,
Deathblade books to the moon, baby. Invest now,
No
Corpa.
idea. I still think your Sharpshooter should have been below all these other things too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I don't know how.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know how.
I don't know
that
your
thing got up
Soulfist.
there.
I don't know your Soulfist ended up there. I mean, you should be lucky that class got up there. You're lucky Lancemaster's even up there. Jesus Christ.
So guys, before closing this out, I just want to quickly say one more thing, that this tier list, okay, this is not something that we are trying to set a meta for. I know this tier list is for the purpose of two things and two things only. Number one, entertainment, and number two, so that Stoopzz can manipulate the market on NA East. Those are really the only two reasons. So guys, keep that in mind when we are talking about this tier list. That's what it comes down to, okay? Pretty much that, entertainment and manipulation of the market for Stoopzz, okay? So everything is playable. That is our current opinions on the NAEU SA version of the game, our current end game. I hope you guys found this entertaining. That's really what it's all about for us content creators. It's about entertaining you guys, providing content that you guys find engaging, whether you agree with it or you disagree with it. I think everyone had a lot of fun giving their opinions in a constructive manner. Hopefully this gets talked about and we could all talk about the opinions of the classes. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. I just want to create more content for the NAEU community that's focused on our region of the game and our content creators. So maybe we can do some more stuff. Maybe we could do some more stuff. Yes, and Stoopzz is a big advocate of that too. We talk about this all the time.
More Western NA content. Try out builds for yourself. Test things out. Don't rely. The version that they were playing in Korea is not the same version you're playing today. They didn't even have adrenaline. They didn't even have these sets. They didn't even have these set bonuses. Test out builds for yourself. You never know what you'll find out.
Absolutely. Yep. All right, guys. As for this video, this is where we're going to conclude it. Like and subscribe. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Hit these content creators up. They're going to be in the descriptions, and we'll probably, for the YouTube video, we'll probably have their links plastered all over the page here. But as far as this video goes, we're done. We're out. Check these guys out on Twitch and YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.